Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Grapple Weekend Show for Thursday, the 25th of August, 2025. I'm Benno.
And I'm JP.
And we are here, JP, on a Thursday. You're my, I don't know if I'm getting a reputation here, maybe.
And this hell of a start, this, isn't it?
Oh, no, is the internet breaking up, is it?
It had a little bit of freezing going in there. I'm sure it'll be absolutely fine. It will all...
We're in the midst of a storm over here, so I think that's
Are you
causing,
okay, hopefully? He says, filibustering until he can see Benno moving. There he is.
Oh, no. Right, give me 1 sec. Let me go camera off. Let's see if that helps. Is that any better?
That seems okay at the moment.
Okay.
As long as we can hear you. That would be the absolute main thing. Let us know, folks, in the chat what technical issues that we're relying on you lads today. We really are.
This is what happens, JP. Simon's in the chat there saying about tempting fate with the trains. I've tempted fate this weekend with 3 podcasts in the last 24 hours. That's what I was going to say there. I've had different bedfellows each couple of hours, to be honest with you. I'm going to start getting a reputation around here, mate.
You are, aren't you?
You're my usual, mate. You're the one at home. You're the wife at home.
I'm very much that side bit of stuff now as well. You've even gone back to one of the long time exes there in yeah. But that was brilliant. It was brilliant to hear his thoughts on it as well. I mean, I'll be seeing him on Sunday because I'll be travelling down the O2 with him as well. So
amazing.
Yeah. So be able to do that. I even decided for this to wear an old O2 Arsenal shirt that my son's got off Vinted for me. In that classic retro Arsenal way.
Is it a real one? Fake one? I'm guessing it's a fake one.
Real one. No.
Okay.
Yeah, they're fucking snobs about this stuff, mate. Honestly, they absolutely are. So they got that. I'm going to wear the new away shirt. I think down is what I'm going to be wearing down there as well. I think you got because it just seems to be the thing these days. It's just people wear football shirts to wrestling. That Everton bloke started it all. The one in Florida.
Yeah, that's true. Still going him, I think. I'm pretty sure you still see it.
Carried on from then.
Yeah, you still see it in shows. I just thought you were showing off, mate, because all Arsenal does right now is swoop in and steal players that other teams that are allegedly signing. You know, you've had a hell of a couple of days.
Oh, mate, you wouldn't believe how fucking happy I was when that happened last night. It was like, honestly to God, I was sat down. I was quite miserable because it was like Havertz, and it was like, who are we going to be buying? And then all of a sudden, I got a text through from my eldest son, and he just went, Orny! In there, I was like, what's happened in there as well? And there was just, Max had come back with one of these things, or I think it was like David Ornstein being knighted, and then just said about this, which it's a double thing of, I always wanted to sign Eze. I think he's a genuine game-changing player.
Great FPL asset as well.
Oh, he'll play loads. He will play lots. He'll be playing primarily on the left, but anytime there's any rotation, he fits into any of the roles. And it's doing over Spurs. All of that stuff. Absolutely fucking love it, mate.
Honestly, I feel for Spurs because they feel like the Everton in the situation, and I've had to live through that for very many years with a Liverpool supporting brother and stuff. But I'm glad it's making you happy. I'm looking forward. Honestly, this weekend, like obviously we didn't do Spotlight this week, so it's going to be a fucking monster weekend show. So we will get into it, but it's a monster weekend. Obviously for wrestling, there's going to be a fucking shitload to get into. Plus there's the footy. Plus there's Everton's first home game coming up as well at the Hill Dicky. I think that's what we're calling it this weekend as well. I'll be watching that live in between wrestling, in between not sleeping, basically, is what I'll be doing. But that's what I do anyway. Like I say, when you got to fit this amount of a podcast in, it all kind of works out. But yeah, it's a shame, really. You think the Premier League would stop for us this weekend to just give us a break?
You think they would do, wouldn't they? But that's not the Premier League. I'm getting the impression that the problem might be my internet. Is just making me slightly paranoid.
You made me shit myself.
Yeah.
Am I breaking up for you? I think the chat are saying I'm all right.
He seems all right. I'm going to very quickly refresh if you're all right to do that and to dive into the plugs, and I'll get myself back on, and hopefully it will sort itself out. I bet it's one of these bloody tabs I've got open up on here. That'll fucking teach
those torrents, mate. That's what it is.
You see the dodgy box sorted that stuff out. Did see Superman, by the way, on my birthday. Great film.
Nice.
Hell of a lot of fun.
Okay.
Loved it.
There you go. Good stuff.
Yeah. I'll quickly refresh, though, in the meantime.
Okay. I might have given myself an Everton job here. Well, I was going to say, this is a perfect time to say, obviously, this being a big weekend show and us having a million things to cover, and being the third show I've done in the last 24 hours, we've got a lot to cover, but we are going to be putting this one on the free feed. So if you do decide to, if you listen to us on the free feed, and it'll be on a couple of days delay, and you might be thinking, oh God, I could have gotten this on Thursday. You could have joined the Patreon, patreon.com/grapple. You could join that. You could join the youtube.com/@grapple. Join us over there as well and get the video versions for the glorious non-HD, which seems to be our thing at the minute. You can get all that over there as well, including as JP said before, not to bury the lead. We did have a surprise.
On this. I don't know what's going on with this thing. It keeps on fucking freezing for me. What's going on? Bastard computer. 2 secs.
No worries. It was slightly more professional, is what I was going to say when I had obviously Joe on yesterday. Yes, you did hear correctly. Freeloaders out there, the one and only Rev Joe. I think he was just feeling I don't know, passionate. He was feeling excited, or I don't know. Had a rant in his back pocket for us that he was going to send in. I'll give you the behind the scenes. He did send me a message saying he was going to send us some solo audio that we were thinking of inserting into Spotlight at some point, and then as these things do, it kind of turned into, are you available now? Can I give you a call? That's probably easier than doing solo audio. And then he gave me a call, and the 20-minute clip that we were going to do turned into about 90 minutes. And basically, it's just a podcast of its own, and it's there. It's on the Patreon, but it's free, available to absolutely everybody. You can. I don't even think you have to sign up to the Patreon to get it. You just go to patreon.com/grapple and hit play, and it will play. But if you do sign up, you can sign up for free, and you can get the free version of that show and listen to it. Get your own little RSS feed and listen to it as well. You don't have to give us a penny to get it, and you'll get the audio of the Grapple Live I did with Karen this week as well. So it's all very much worth it out there, and we very much pride ourselves on our value for money. And you can even go over on the well, I'll just go into full plug mode while I wait for JP on the YouTube. You can go over there and spend only 99 pence, get you in the lowest level on the YouTube. We can't do a free membership unfortunately on YouTube, but 99p. And you get the video version of me and Joe, and you also get the video versions of Spotlight, of obviously the occasional weekend show when we put it on the lowest tier, which isn't very often, but we do try. We usually put the pre-show up there on a Sunday for free as well, so or for the 99p as well that you can get as well. And like I say, we try and treat people odd episode of retro things like that, so it's worth the 99p if you fancy putting your hand in your pocket. But yeah, obviously, like I say, always amazing to get Joe on. And I was shattered yesterday. I sprinted back, managed to record with him. Then I did the show with Karen as well. But it was great. I just got to sit back and listen to Joe be Joe and tell us stories about going to random bars in Tokyo and Osaka, watching wrestling with the locals, going to the G1 semi-finals, which, spoilers, he did not enjoy, and he didn't make it to the finals in the end, which was the original plan. I was planning on meeting us. We welcome JP back for the G1 final, but I'm glad they didn't make the trip, and I can't blame Joe for not going to the final. But you can hear all of his glorious audio explaining why, including Bray Wyatt, and maybe even a little bit of a callback, or I don't know, a shot back at the Andy Quildan interview we did last week, where Joe gives his take on what the real attitude here of soaps is. So if that's not going to sell you, I don't know what will.
Oh, it was brilliant. It was brilliant to hear. I mean, I'm lucky I get to hear it in the flesh as well on Sunday, but it was fantastic. It's always fantastic to do that as well when he gets to pop in there. But you've been doing the Lord's work with the audio from the AJ Styles phenomenal show, which was
that was on Sunday
fantastic.
as well. I left that out of the plugs. Yeah, listen to that too. It was me and Matty and Gareth. Or just watch the playlist. The fucking playlist itself's just a load of fun just to watch that. You don't even have to listen to us knobheads talk about it. Get that too on the Patreon. Did you get anywhere with the home? Obviously, we gave you it's been your birthday, Barry, in the league, JP, this week, so we gave you it off as well. But I don't know how much of it you got done.
I won't lie, I hadn't started it up to the point where you said, mate, you can have it, because I was partly because it was going to be clashing with the Arsenal Man U game, which was a dreadful game. By the way,
it was bad.
It was bad, but we won, and I don't care. Like, I couldn't give a less of a shit about it as well. But then for the birthday was lovely as well. Ended up at Chessington. Well, in the Zoom
adventure.
Yeah, it was.
Okay. Is that still a thing? I didn't know. It should have been an advert we'd see on the telly. Where even is it? Is it down south somewhere?
Surrey. I want to say it's near Leatherhead. It feels like very near Southampton. Like it feels like it's on the way there. So it was, we were there. It was a lovely day. Went around the zoo, came back, steaks for tea, Superman, another turkey holiday booked, which is good. Arsenal away top. Yeah, that was all I wanted.
It's all coming up, JP.
It really is. It is coming up, JP. And then the Eze news was great. Looking forward to this Forbidden Door show. I'm in a very good mood. I mean, how long that'll last? When we talk about the G1, that's when it'll all go to piss. But yeah,
we'll keep it short. Like I say, we've done a couple of shows on it already, so I'll spare you it, JP. But I was going to say, like, what is the plan for you this weekend? What's the plan of events? Obviously, we're going to be doing the big old preview at the end of this show, going through every show I think that we know of, or at least the major ones. Let's say that. I don't want to promise something we can't deliver. The main shows we're going to be going through later on tonight, and obviously talking some of the highlights and lowlights of the weekend as well. But what's the JP plan? Actually, I wasn't sure. Are you down for the weekend? Are you down just for the night? Are you traveling back? Usually, it's a whole family affair, isn't it? The whole
it is
whole family come down, you know.
But not this time round, because I'm going to be sat with Joe and Cooper. So we're right up in the gods. So I'm only down for that day, just simply because of logistics of coming back as well. I think we're going to be going to Blenheim Palace on the Saturday, but I am going to make sure to watch. I want to watch Global Wars on the Friday and see enough of the anniversary show, like the day 2 on the Saturday as well. So plan on seeing those. I'm sad I can't go to those shows because just seeing what those cards are, they look like a hell of a lot of fun. And I think, again, a bit more pumped after the interview we did with Andy. So because of that, I think I just feel like a bit more like I'm a lot more enthused about this one. It feels like there's a lot. Yeah. It feels like the pressure isn't on as much. Like there is and those lower expectations, I think, are actually quite a good thing.
For the weekend as a whole, you mean? Yeah.
For the weekend as a whole. But those people, Connor there in the chat is getting the train down. There's a lot of people who are making that big effort to come down for the weekend. And I don't blame them. But, we'll be getting into, I'm not sure what time we'll be getting in there. But, I mean, getting back that day is going to be a bit of because we've got to make our way. We've got to get a coach so we can get a coach back that night. So, not staying over, but at least it's the bank holiday. No matter how dead I feel, I can sleepwalk through that.
It's interesting because I feel like obviously I always say that about the podcast. We're a niche within a niche within a niche, and I think like our level of wrestling fandom is a niche within a niche within a niche. But I feel like everyone I know, apart from me, obviously being out here, everyone I know seems to be going still. Like you compare it to like obviously a Wembley weekend, and like you say, there's lower expectations, and it doesn't feel as big as a weekend because it's not Wembley, and it's not 50,000 plus descended on one place. But all the people who matter seem to be going. Everybody in our audience seems to be going. Everybody I know is like a wrestling fan, or at least the level of wrestling fan that we tend to talk to, all seem to be going as well. So like it still like feels like it's a big massive deal like within our little bubble type of thing. So you know what's going to happen. It's not going to be quite Wembley way, is it? But you're going to be what's the train station at the O2? You're going to be getting off the tube there and
North Greenwich.
Walking. Yeah, you'll be bumping into a few people up there between the glass walls. There's a nice, when I met Matty there for the Money in the Bank show, wasn't it? In the the WWE a couple of years ago. Like, there's a nice little like hipster place outside with all like typical place, slice of pizza, a burger, they're about 15 quid each. But there's all those different little stands and stuff you can take on. And I think there's correct me if I'm wrong, is there not a Weatherspoons in the O2? I feel like Osprey should have included that as a promo this week. I think I saw somebody say they're just going to pitch up with the Weatherspoons all day. So that would probably be my talk as well. I think JP, that would be my plan. That would be my call. I think that, and maybe a cheeky Greg's on the way. Maybe I'm just feeling nostalgic and I'm missing a Greg's from back home. I think that would be my little day out.
Yeah, but probably like Will Ospreay style, I probably wouldn't be going for one of the vegan ones, whereas you would do, because it was funny to see Bryan Danielson's response. We'll get onto that. We'll get to the Dynamite review. But as far as I'm aware, the last time I was there was when me and Vicky met up with her sister and her sister's fiance. We were supposed to be climbing the roof, but then Vicky found out she was pregnant with Charlie. So she couldn't go. And then we climbed the roof and then went for a Five Guys afterwards, because there is a Five Guys in there. And that's like almost like my pre-Arsenal meal of choice. So you've got a few different things around there as well. But then
it's day out, that, mate. And Arsenal ticket at the Five Guys, Jesus.
Oh, God, yeah. Tell me about it. But, so you have got good options for other places around it. It's just you've got to do it. But it's baked into the cake. It's going to be relatively pricey for it. It'd be pricey inside the O2 as well. That would be exactly the kind of thing that you would. But then, water is wet, sky is blue, isn't it? Literally in the case of Sky Blue. So yeah, there's going to be like a few other places, but I imagine that Weatherspoons is going to be absolutely fucking heaving there as
maybe
well.
the center of the universe. That might be where everybody heads. Like Connor saying here, yeah, he's not doing any shows other than Forbidden Door, but excited to catch people on the Sunday. Chris there saying he's heading down from Carlisle Saturday morning and going to Eve on the night as long as there's no delays. There you go. That sounds like a good plan. And Plato's just been in Scotland, fucking all around the world. United Kingdom, heading down on Saturday to do Rev Pros. All that seemed to be have made the J. I got a couple of live takes from it in the DMs we can talk about later as well. So it still feels like a big week. It's like I say, next year it'll be the one. We'll be back in it. But I'm definitely looking on from aboard, feeling very jealous of you. Hopefully, set up Pro Wrestling when they do their next big shows. JP, they'll have a big weekend or something like that, and I'll make all you people jealous as well. But at least my beers will be cheaper than yours. I'll take that. That'll be
considerably fucking mate. You've ultimately won between your food and drink choices compared to what we have in this country, as you well know. I
wonder what the comparison would be if I got a flight. I'm sure I wouldn't save the money. I had a mate who said that though, and I was telling him that you can get 30 pence packs of 20 cigarettes in Vietnam. I was like, how many weeks worth of cigarettes would it take for me to save off a flight? It was probably a couple of weeks. It wouldn't take much more than that. Might work. No, might make logical sense. I don't know, but I'll be back for All In JP next year, so I'll be looking on jealously like you. I'll be watching Rev Pro on stream. Obviously, I'll be watching All In on the stream. So good time for me. It'll be midnight, which is great. Peak Benno hours, and quite happy with that. Midnight till 4 or 5 in the morning, or 6 in the morning, or 7 in the morning, depending on how close they run to curfew. I'm sure they'll stick to it, but yeah, going to be a late all night for me on Sunday night as well. So very much looking forward to it. Whatever your plans are, hopefully you've got us stuck in your ears, and we will ready you for everything going on this weekend. But before we do, like I said at the top, we didn't do a spotlight this week with all of the other shows coming out, including the Grapple Lads coming out this weekend, and of course Sam Mulvaney's Urban Wrestling Federation show coming out later in the week. But as we've been doing such fun little projects, we do need to have a bit of a catch up on the news, and we'll hit some of the big stories, JP, and the place to start. Unfortunately, we're going to get to AEW. Don't worry, I'll timestamp it, but we do need to talk some WWE, and it is AEW related as unbelievably, while WWE are currently in the United Kingdom, they're not JP doing just a random 6-date tour that I'm sure they've always had planned. This entire time, this is always going to be the weekend they were going to do it. It's nothing to do with AEW running. Well, yeah, if anybody, I don't think there's anybody in our audience who denies these stories are very much on purpose at this point. But I think even like the Vincels are fully on board now, and I'll do the screens, JP. I know you were going to do it, but I think mine might be a little bit more reliable. But yes, as WWE, like I say, will do. They are, of course, running head to head with All Out, as rumored on September the curiously named show, JP. WrestlePalooza. Just like I didn't believe that story when it first came out that they were trademarking and it was a thing. And if you might think, okay, well, yeah, there you go, we knew that already. We knew they were running on September 20th. Well, what we didn't know is that they are also going to be doing this on ESPN as the ESPN PLE deal that they just announced would be in about 6 months. They changed their mind and said, no, it's launching now at the same time as the app /service /OTC service, whatever word you want to use with it, which did launch today in the United States, and yeah, that's going to be a big tentpole part of the launch. Like I say, September the 20th. Nothing else going on that Saturday night, JP. But yeah, WWE up to their old tricks. Bit of old school, isn't it? It's a bit of like, we'll put this on ESPN while you've got to pay $50 for the AEW pay-per-view. Your move, Tony Khan.
Yeah. It's a funny one, this, isn't it? And they're going all guns blazing. They're going with what they feel is arguably one of the biggest matches they can go with in Cena and Brock Lesnar. I mean, to talk there's several things going on here, because I know one of them actually links to another story about Peacock as well afterwards. But I'm assuming that ESPN have effectively given, because they will want WWE in order to say, we've got this going on this weekend, we've got this special event, just in order to try and just like drive those initial sales and sort of like have that narrative of what a success the launch of the app is. And so I'm assuming ESPN would have effectively almost bought out WWE out of the rest of their contract. So Peacock will have got that. Peacock have got something in exchange. We'll talk about it a little bit in there as well. WrestlePalooza, interesting. Name of one of the worst ECW pay-per-views of all time. And that's not even the shit in the 2000s when there was like, they had no one left. It was a terrible show. Remember, it was Al Snow versus Shane Douglas.
Oh, was that like the one?
Yeah.
I've got no nostalgia for it. It's one of those covers that I remember seeing, when I used to go to like HMV or Virgin in town, and I probably bumped into Matty before I knew Matty as we were both leafing through the ECW DVDs they'd sell. I'm sure that was one. That and It Ain't Seinfeld were the two that always stood out to me as like, what a shit name that is. Like, I don't even think I think WrestlePalooza is a good name. Like, it's like the most, like, it's obviously a clear indication that Vince has gone, or at least for now, because it's got wrestle in the name. I know it's definitely not the type of ECW nostalgia that he would want to lean into, which again I think is part of the story. I think very much the Triple H side, the WWE side, they're knowing that Tony Khan likes to and we got a story on it later, likes to lean into his ECW nostalgia. I reckon that's an element here. But like, even that aside, I think it's a crap name. It just sounds a bit cheap, doesn't it? Sounds like there was the stories obviously came out that there was an indie that was running under the name WrestlePalooza. We've got in the news as well. I'm sure have taken a nice little paybacker from WWE, but it sounds indie. It sounds like a shit show that runs like on Christmas weekend in like fucking bumfuck Alabama, and like they have these shit logos that say WrestlePalooza on. It's just it's so on them. Like that's why I didn't believe the story when it first came out.
That's it. It's like there's so many
company. That's what it is. Yeah.
Ah, okay. I mean, they first of all they seemed perfectly happy with the deal of just changing it. Yeah. So it's not like they were fucking.
Apparently, they're not allowed to tweet about it or mention it ever again.
Well, if they've got a nice payout as a result of it, you just be like, yeah, that's fine. We walk away. It's just like having a big win on a fruit machine and being told never to play fruities again. It's like, yeah, that's all right. It's not a name, like we said, like the nostalgia side of it doesn't really apply for this one, because if you're thinking classic ECW names, it's not one of the big ones that are in there. And I think anything Appalooza is stuff that I'm just like, oof. Like I have known, I'm not American, so I don't have any nostalgia for
Lollapalooza. It's like a joke in Futurama or Simpsons, isn't it? Homopalooza coming up this weekend or something,
That's it. Yeah, it's like adding gate onto the end of any scandal. It just feels like, it's just like, it's quite lazy for it as well. I mean, in terms of this, I think and this is a whole other bigger debate that we'll probably get into sort of closer to the time. I did see something that was being theorized that WWE and TKO have made so many links with so many different services that by the time the idea is to basically block out AEW if they're trying to renegotiate. So
there's a word for that, JP. Pretty sure. Monopa. Cluedo, is it? Is that the word? I can't remember.
It is Cluedo. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Was it Monopa Connect 4? That's the one. Which is
Monopapalooza.
Like, if you're Tony Khan, like, you'd start to think, I'd get the lawyers on this straight away, because you go, well, this is anti like monopolistic practices, anti-competition in every way, shape, or form. Yeah. They're going to be doing. They don't. I mean, it's like this weekend as well. Has it made any difference when we talk the ticket sales of Forbidden Door? No, it hasn't. I mean, they might say, well, didn't sell out the Hydro. Yeah, it wasn't like 3,000 in the Hydro, though, was it? I mean, and will it have any impact on the pay-per-view buys? Probably not. I don't think they will do. I mean, they're running NXT inexplicably. This is sort of passing one by. They're running NXT opposite it, or like in that evening, aren't they? With Heat.
Yeah, the afternoon. Yeah.
Which is like, you sort of look at this and go, Jesus Christ! Like this is all they're focusing on, because it's a wonderful distraction away from their own problems and the other things they don't need to do. I mean, Jake from the Windy City is saying here in the chat, the only companies that WWE haven't partnered with yet are Fox, CBS, Apple, and Amazon. I mean, I would say
CBS have UFC.
Yeah, exactly. And and the only other thing is it would be network TV, which isn't a route that AEW have gone down, but that's going to be kind of freed up, I think, with the Saturday night's main event news. So.
Well, you'd even see it on like that low level. Like I joked about it when we were talking Forbidden Door myself and Karen yesterday, which again, check that out. That was a great chat that we had. Like I was pointing out like the New Japan admin on Instagram had like posted the wrong poster for Forbidden Door. It had like Naito on it, and it had like Swerve with the belt and stuff. And it, like people get angry, like, I can't believe New Japan are doing this. Fucking Gedo. It's like Gedo doesn't have the login to the Instagram. Like there's no chance that was Gedo that posted that. That's just the admin boy who. I mean, clearly maybe there's an indication there that the company doesn't care quite as much as they should. But you put your blame in the right place. The fellow who runs the Snickers Twitter account is not the CEO of Snickers. It's usually a very different person. But I was going to say, like, that's like linked to that, like the ESPN website, like their news section had a lot of people pointed this out, had an AEW section. It's gone now. Like, I don't know that's not a major story, but it's like, that just tells you, doesn't it? There's been a conversation at some point. Somebody has gone, oh yeah, you're taking our stuff on, and we're going to be obviously working out how we can get onto the service sooner. Well, get that AEW stuff off your website. Like, that's either a director from WWE or maybe it's ESPN, knowing how paranoid WWE is. But it tells you like that's how things are right now. Like, it's war in WWE's eyes, which is like they've really ramped it up the last while. Which I more and more buy. Like, Meltzer's been leaning into it, the conspiracy theory that like WWE is seeing the max numbers, and the max numbers are as big as people are saying. It's Tony Khan is saying they are, and it's making them panic. I can't think of anything else that's happened in the last few months that would cause this, other than WWE going to the absolute dogs to the point where even someone like Matty is struggling to find the positives. But like, yeah, they're doing all this in plain sight, and like you say, the only issue is it might bite them in the arse when there does come to be a lawsuit or something in future.
The only issue with the lawsuit stuff is who the government is, and the fact that WWE have got that, right now. And that's the problem, is they won't care. Like, there's things about the Paramount deal, like that. Obviously, Trump was in there with like the merger with CBS, and he was very much like CBS having to do certain things, and then there's the whole South Park aspect of it as well. But they've managed to, like, they're doing their absolute like utmost to try and kill them. So I think it's a combination of the factors on here. Maybe like it ties in that maybe the max numbers are certainly so much stronger than what people have expected, and might be taking them up closer to 1 million a week. But then on top of it, it's this is like we're just going to take them because it's in their DNA and serves as a distraction away from their own failings and their own product failings as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And even if you want to look at that story and go, okay, well, that means they must have pissed off NBCU. Well, apparently not, because like they've somehow brokered this deal. Like the way they've gotten out, like the Peacock deal was supposed to go for another 6 months, and apparently it will still for the VOD library. But like there was supposed to be more pay-per-views, and they've tried to be like, haven't they? Well, Evolution counts as one in our deal, and well, SummerSlam was 2 nights, so there's an extra pay-per-view you got, and apparently it's worked. And I guess the reason it's worked, as the more detail has come out, is that they went to Peacock/NBCU first and brokered a deal to get out. And obviously that was a big part of the deal, according to the Hollywood Reporter. And obviously Peacock have ended the deal on good terms and gave WWE the okay to launch early on ESPN and be, again, a prime part of ESPN's news service, as it says here. Yeah, they do believe they've completed their quota for PLA broadcasts on Peacock due to adding the extra events. So that's Evolution, that's Clash in Paris, and that's allegedly the second night of SummerSlam, which is either one night if they're counting attendance numbers, JP, or it's 2 nights if you're counting individual pay-per-views, whatever particularly fits them. Apparently, they're still going to be carrying the NXT PLEs, like you say. There's one this weekend, for example, and like bigger than that. Apparently. And again, is this a positive or a negative story for WWE? Saturday night's main event is moving off of the actual broadcast TV, NBC, and is going to be on Peacock. Again, guessing making up some of the the loss of WWE content on there. So if you are an American out there and thought you could just bim your Peacock off, you probably still could. Maybe you desperately want to see John Cena's last match on there in the middle of December, but they're still going to presumably have the back catalogue at least for now, and they're going to have NXT, and they're going to have Saturday's main event, and potentially other specials as the word in there here as well. JP, I don't know if how you take that one. Is it a positive or a negative? Because obviously the big negative involved, and that will be interesting how they came to the conclusion is, well, it's not going to be on NBC's main TV network anymore. Yeah.
Which suggests to me that of how far down the line Saturday night's main event will end up being. It will just be a kind of a throwaway special show that they can do. And I think it will exist as much to just have a relationship with Peacock. Much in the same way that I wouldn't be surprised if NXT PLEs are sold as a completely separate entity, much in the same way that it's sold on CW as a
you can make it part of the package, couldn't you?
Yeah.
If the numbers that are out there, I believe they're very low, aren't they, for NXT? Maybe they're thinking they could boost them up the next time. But when CW deals up, still a few years, isn't it?
I think that, still a few years in that one. I want to say it was 75 million over 3 years, which is kind of incredible given the kind of product it is and the money loser that it kind of still is ultimately. But it's just more about presence as much. I just think it's the kind of thing that this is the thing with them retreating onto like away from network TV, and network TV does not have the cachet that it used to, obviously. But it still has the widest possible audience. You still have the channel hoppers that you can have, and that eliminates it. So How much, how strong is this going to end up being?
They've gone from being massive on there, haven't they, with SmackDown as well, to being where they are now. Obviously, SmackDown being back on USA, and now Saturday Night's Main Event not even being on the TV.
Yeah, exactly. And then, like, what will Saturday Night's Main Event end up being at the end of all of this? It will just be a thing. It will just be like content for content's sake that they have sold.
Which is kind of what it's been so far, hasn't it? And they've been. I think Charlie's got takes on it. They've been lesser and lesser, haven't they? As they've gone, to that, to that point, like the counter to that is, they're still taking it seriously enough. Maybe again, it was a sweetening of the deal of like, but we're going to give you John Cena's retirement match still, and you'll get that because that date for that is official. It is going to be the December Saturday night's main event for Cena's retirement. Again, how you fit that into a 2-hour show? Is John Cena cut off at the end like Goldberg did, or are they going to give him a bit more time than they gave Bill? Who's to say? But yeah, that's the December 13th edition of Saturday's main event. So add that to the grapple calendar for December. No location determined yet, but I believe it's going to be the TD Garden. And obviously as well, they've added an NXT PLE to talk to the deal. Obviously next month with No Mercy, kind of piling into this little period the week after on September the 27th.
If you're John Cena and you got your retirement match, the fact it's on Peacock really lessens the impact of that for me. Considering that John Cena is, I think it might well be on premiering tonight. He's got Peacemaker season 2, which is expected to be like quite a big success. So this is a man who's had, like, in terms of his film and TV career, it's on. I would always argue with Cena, it's on an upward trajectory. He has very much sort of put himself into that Hollywood mainstream. Therefore, linear TV would be what you'd want to go with, rather than like Peacock, where, I mean, God, if you're shunting no NXT, No Mercy on there, doesn't make it feel special at all. And the fact that it would have been Cena's retirement would have perhaps gotten like a few, would have got more in the way of viewing figures. Like, I think that one is, it's like if they could have held up, if there was one thing you would have wanted to have on NBC, it would have been that. But instead it being on Peacock, doesn't really, not real great for me.
And that last thing I'll say is it's not just us. The Americans have all the Americans on my town, they've just been confused. Like, nobody knows whether they get ESPN with the cable provider. Like so we've been saying, there's certain cable providers you do, certain you don't. Certain you got to figure out how you log in, and then there's some cases where it's just, you still got to pay the $29.99. It doesn't feel straightforward, and the ESPN service itself doesn't sound straightforward. It's like, it's just us as wrestling fans don't understand what this is. No, everyone out there is confused because it's like, it's the reverse of what HBO did with Max, isn't it? They've just literally called it everything's ESPN. The channel's ESPN. ESPN Plus is a separate thing. ESPN, this service, is an additional service. There isn't those two other things, but it might be one of those two other things, depending on the package you've got with the cable provider. Like, it's never been more complicated to watch WWE if you're in America, and they struggle at the best of times. So, we'll see how that lands as well. But clearly, loads of it speaks to WWE right now. I think that we're seeing a lot of those little stories where things like this happen. Like, again, wouldn't have happened a year ago, 18 months ago. I imagine they would have saw their deal out. I imagine they would have, wanted that consistency. They just seem to be it's what literally, this feels like TKO. It feels like literally they're going to give us more money. Fuck it. We're going straight to ESPN. We're not going to wait 6 months, and we'll find a way to smooth it out with NBC later, whether they're happy or not. And that just seems to be the way they work these days. But obviously more on that. I'm sure JP might have a few more headlines on it when we get into the news dump tomorrow, when you do a bit of mop up. Like I say, there's a few other WWE stories I imagine you'll cover in that. Obviously, like a joke there that apparently the official number for WrestleMania is 118,000 from this year. So it's a one-night event, JP, unless it's two. And obviously there's apparently Killer Cross and Scarlett are doing indies as well. But I'll let you go into that very interesting news when you get there. But I'll go.
I'll give it the 25 seconds it deserves and nothing more.
Those Cody quotes be interesting though. So there's a little tease for the news dump. Another reason to get the 99p package on the YouTube, become a free member on Patreon. But the other WWE related thing I really wanted to talk to you about, JP, before we get into this weekend is obviously AAA, which is a WWE property at this point. Not that you believe it, from Triple H's miserable fucking face sat at in the front row. Worlds Collide. You got a free ticket there, and he couldn't have been more than happy. Nick Khan at least gave it a bit of clapping, stood up, sat down. Triple H just sat there stony faced at the weekend for TripleMania, or TripleMania, which apparently it is once again. according to the English language commentators. But obviously, they've announced that they're going to be doing another Worlds Collide in September. Again, that being the week. They're carpet bombing like fucking September, aren't they? Like the September the 12th. This show is so the week before All Out and WrestlePalooza. This show is also taking place as well. But yeah, Worlds Collide announced from Las Vegas, Nevada, and coming up on the 12th. And obviously, the main event of that is looking to be Vikingo and my boy Dominic Mysterio, which was obviously set up this week on TripleMania. But yeah, any thoughts on that news story, JP? And like I say, we're a few days removed now. I got a couple of my takes out on the live, but did you have any burning takes to get in from AAA this week?
I mean, burning takes. I'm not in. I mean, I watched the show because I found it to be. I mean, this is always the problem with it. Even when it's bad, it's still kind of enjoyable in its own slapdash way. It's technical issues are now gone.
Sounds like
sadly.
Spotlight and Weekend Show.
Yeah,
sounds like this. Sounds like what we do.
Yeah, it really does.
Make sure that comes as grapple for more of the same, folks.
It's interesting. They've gone from a 10,000 seat arena when they were in it in LA. When they were at the Kia Forum, to go to the Cox Pavilion, which is 3,300. That's interesting. Like that, it's, and I don't know why that is. Because it's interesting in terms of the start time. Is it 10 p.m. Eastern? So it's going to be after SmackDown. So I'm assuming you got SmackDown. Well, yeah, it should be 8 till 10, but fuck it, it's 3 hours, isn't in there as well. And it'll be on YouTube. It feels to me like this will be the start of the proper WWE era of AAA, given that main event, and given the thing that is kind of the funniest aspect of it, the fact that Vikingo is just booed out of the fucking building, and there's which it's the strangest story that somehow in all of this they've managed to make Alberto El Patron a massive baby face. Which has
He made himself one, didn't he? Which is like he's just I kind of gathered it from like the little AAA we watched this year, but very clearly he's been big time in Vikingo, hasn't he? And the fans have just gone along with it. And they see that Meltzer was talking about, wasn't he? They see Vikingo as a jobber now because of the way Del Rio treated him in his matches, and they see him as the real champion, and he's been screwed over by the horrible WWE, made even worse by Rey Mysterio standing in the ring, obviously at TripleMania and saying that he's going to get Alberto back for the people, like. Just made it even worse. I almost feel like they're going to have to bring him in now, but like, fuck me. Like, if he wasn't such a turgid human being, you'd almost respect it, wouldn't you? The level of that's proper lucha stuff, isn't it? It's just, you don't want to see it from him.
No, God, no. Like, and the thing is as well, is I'm not convinced, like, to bring him back in, very quickly he'll be worth nothing again. Because that's the thing with Alberto. There's no.
We said we were going to talk about Karrion Kross today, mate. We said we were going to. Alberto.
Oh yeah. He's never been good, and he's just gotten worse over time in there as well. This is the thing with him, and it's not like he's going to go to CMLL as well. I think he just sort of recognizes, okay, this is his entry point in, and he's just, like you say, he's decided to Big Brother Vikingo. It's turned it in a way where Vikingo has somehow become this undeserving champion, which is ridiculous when you think about like how long Vikingo's been with the company, the feud with Kenny Omega, the kind of like a lot of the rise of AAA, but certainly the rise of the good AAA main event happened alongside Vikingo going in there, and it's just how far his sort of star has fallen. This also is quite commonplace for Mexico. When I was thinking about him being booed, it reminded me of what you'd always hear about Roosh. And Roosh was this big baby face for the longest time in CMLL. And fans just rejected it because it was just like they just rejected that kind of a baby face. And then it was like, all of a sudden, it's like then they turn him heel and he's like a lot more dynamic. Whether or not they decide to do the same thing with Vikingo, I don't know. I think what it does spell, and perhaps the result of this is, they're going to be putting that belt on Dominic Mysterio at this event. They are, because there's money in that, and it'll be him versus his dad at like a big show in Mexico.
Yeah, and there's still juice in that, isn't it? Like, I like that about the fact that like they've never ruined that. You get the odd like photo someone will take at the airport where they're stood together, but mostly like in public they're like, I hate him, my dad's a cunt, like, or he does like top 5 lists and it doesn't include his dad and stuff. Like, they've kept that alive, and it's a match that doesn't have a huge. I love that on Instagram. It was so funny. But it's like, yeah, obviously there's a bit of juice still in that in WWE, but like, yeah, doing it in Mexico would obviously be a different spin on it. So you can go. I'm not mad at that. I like that. He's over, and the whole thing is over, as we're seeing at TripleMania as well. So why not lean into that? That's the positive side of the WWE relationship. It's a lot of the other stuff, isn't it? It's like the chat are saying there, Ian Fetishist, Mean Mark in the background, working his magic with Lucha. Who do you think has got his fingerprints all over it? He'll be one who won Alberto back. That seems more like his type of guy.
Yeah.
I can't imagine any of the dragons or lizards or clowns are in Undertaker's wheelhouse.
Which is ironic for a man who's meant to be dead for the last.
How long have you been dead, man?
Exactly.
One of the
Tracy Smothers, fucking glorious with that. Yeah, it's a weird. Which is ironic. He was there as urn fetishist because, as far as I was there any urns there? I didn't see any urns on. I
didn't see any. No, she was in the intro, wasn't she? They did like the national anthem and stuff, and they always stand next to Shawn Michaels. It's always fucking weird. But I don't think she had an urn. No, I don't think so.
No. What do you have? You have two lads walking around, carrying the flags, normally at Psycho Clown and Pagano, whatever, carrying around, and there's two urns, and there's a couple of the dancing women there. That's that while the Rocky IV music plays. That for me is TripleMania, and it didn't have that, and that was it was one of the things that, while this is obviously a slicker production, it's a lot more. So I'm just going into TripleMania thoughts. It felt a lot more like it's just a lot more sanitized. And a lot more WWE-esque. And normally when they go down this path of just making it part of exactly the same stuff they do everywhere else, people lose interest pretty quickly. They haven't, because there's a novelty value for this at the beginning, and obviously it did a big gate. I mean, they said 19,000, but I just suspect it's always like just bullshit. I think that's
that's true of the bulk of the show. But I felt like the open, like the battle royal thing they were doing, like with Pimperella and all that coming out, like that felt the least WWE. Like that felt like watching GCW at a point, obviously with Microman getting punted by Omos and stuff like that. Like that was, and you could see like that kind of like actually interesting, wacky, leaning on like the history of lucha libre and all of that stuff is not the stuff they want, because Triple H was sat there looking fucking like he wants to be anywhere else. Like, this is not my pro wrestling. And people have read different motivations into his blank stares when certain characters were out there on screen. But like that was the most interesting the show got. But so that to me felt lucha. It was just the bits in the middle with the very heavy WWE presence.
Yeah. That's what it was. After that, it sort of fell into what was, you were expecting a WWE PLE with matches that kind of very easily sort of slot into their format and their.
And no one's talking about them. They're talking about the opener, if not maybe the ending. That's it.
And Omos should be a massive deal there. Like I suspect what will happen is they'll see him getting over, and very quickly they'll pull him off. Like, and just say,
I saw that clip everywhere, like literally TikTok, fucking Instagram stories, like Facebook, just like people don't like wrestling. I saw sharing that, like it was fucking like that's the type of stuff you want to lean into. I know it's meme wrestling, but like, yeah, why not? Triple A have done worse.
Yeah, that's what Triple A has been for a long time, is meme wrestling stuff, and it's wrestle crap, and it falls into that category. But there's so much of the rest of the show where it's just sort of rather paint by numbers. Don't get me wrong. There's things like the tag street fight was perfectly fine without ever being excited by it. And the main event moved at a fair lick for what it was. And it had enough. There was enough like the wackiness, the interference, the multiple El Grande Americanos, of which Ludwig Kaiser's done a belting job for someone who's just thrown in there at the last minute for it as well. Like, I think he's done as well as he could do. But then they got AJ Styles in there as well, because that's fundamentally the real kind of stories that they're.
Did you get the people reacted to? Because that was interesting watching who they react to. Like, I didn't feel like Finn Balor got much of a reaction. I didn't feel like Almost got much of a reaction, or at least his music and his Tron didn't. And then he walked out and was like, "All right, I get this. I understand what this is. Cool." And they're into it. There's certain names they seem to like Otis coming out in the Battle Royal at the start. Like, I don't think they were familiar with him until he started doing his spots, and then they fell in love with him because he's a very lucha wrestler. You could imagine him getting over at lucha. I thought that was smart to do. But then, it has been a bit hit and miss with the other guys.
It is like a mixture of what you'd imagine, like they normally would do 8,000 to 10,000 for a show like this in CDMX. So, like the others, you're assuming are basically WWE fans. And so they're going to want to react to it. Whereas I imagine AAA fans and Lucha fans would be like somewhat confused outside of seeing like an Omos, because he's a spectacle. And that's the kind of stuff that you want from that as well. But yeah, outside of that, like sort of for the rest of the card, what I enjoyed actually, I have to say, was on commentary of watching Conan asking JBL questions about, just questions about like Lucha history, just to fucking put him on the spot on a live show. And I thought, Charlie, you're taking the piss here. You're better behaved this time round. But he's still taking the piss, and I enjoyed
He used to spread on MLW radio back before I realised how problematic the show was. They used to spread a rumour that, remember the Vince McMahon Googling account, I think it is, on Twitter, that was JBL that was behind it. I think it was that, no, Cranky Vince. It was the Cranky Vince account. Like, they were spreading that for ages, that it was JBL's, like, burner account that he was running. Wonder if that came up at any point, but yeah. Felt like there were a few barbs back and forth. I was just surprised Conan got the call. Like, most people just assumed when JBL said he was doing commentary he wouldn't be there, but it got missed that no, he was always still going to be there. I guess he knows where the bodies are buried, I suppose, is the thing with him. But I thought the opener was fun and wacky. I enjoyed the main. The rest of it was just bland WWE version of Lucha. I don't massively disagree, but like I said pretty much as much on the live. I mean, talking the other big show that happened this week, and again, talked it 2 days in a row, so we'll get your takes on it, JP. Obviously, G1, its season is over, and if you saw Karen yesterday, I've never seen a more relieved human that G1 season is over. For someone who fucking loves that company like Karen does, and is a very, very positive, wonderful, happy person. Like, I think you could feel it even in here. Like, for fuck's sake, I'm glad this is done. I need to get back to work. And like, that seems to be obviously the reaction felt by a lot of people. I mentioned it to Karen yesterday. You know, the big news story that Meltzer was doing the numbers again. G1 doing 11.5% less this year than even the 2024 version, which wasn't good when it came to numbers last year. And you could see that in the buildings. You could feel that in the buildings. Again, Joe put that across in the semi-final that he went to as well. That was very much the feeling there. And yeah, apparently G1 attracted total disclosed attendance of 43,000 over 19 events, so an average of 2,267 per show, which is down on 48,000 last year, and 2,500 over 19 shows, which is just an indication of where we are. We're talking 12, 13 years since New Japan has done numbers like this. I put it to Karen yesterday. I'll put it to you. Like, is this the Naito effect? Is this the House of Torture effect? Is this just chickens coming home to roost? It certainly reflects the overall interest. Like I say, that weekend was a bit of a whirlwind, as everyone just kind of dreaded the worst when Evil went over in the semis, and then at least we got the happy ending at the end. Like Joe said, it's like the last episode of a TV series that's been bad for 4 years. But you stick with it. You stick with it just for the finale being all right. And I don't think that was worth the last 4 years. That was this year's G1, because at least you got Takeshita going over at the end, which I think for most of us, at least in the West, that's a babyface move. Karen made a couple of points as to why. Who's that actually for? Is it for genuine New Japan fans, or is that something we say, on our side of the world? Not to put words in our mouth, but yeah, it was a fucking whirlwind of a weekend, and like I say, you couldn't even get like the most hardcore New Japan fan account saying anything nice about New Japan going into the final on Sunday morning.
No, and you asked like what are the reasons for a lot of this stuff, and I think when Joe said about it being like a series, I was like an average series finale. It's like basically New Japan's become Dexter, where it was like after season 4, it just sort of falls off a cliff. And all of the villains and everything else. I
was going to say Game of Thrones, but me and Joe once had an argument about that. I know that was so bad that I had to cut it out of an episode. So I chose not to bring that up.
No, it's probably best not to. But I
don't know what his take would be now. I don't know if you're doing that one now. I don't know.
I know he's not even mad on Severance though. We've had debates on this. I was like, mate, you need to get with that as well. I mean, I think it's a combination of factors. Naito not being there is the short-term draw that can help certain houses in certain cities. How much? But that was always a lessening effect as well. Let's be honest. So how much longer would it have been there for? I think there's a general quality standpoint that people are like, well, they're going to be less enthused, and they're not cheap tickets. These ones there. The fact that this was always should have been much more of a rebuilding G1. That should have been part of this as well. At the same time, I mean, I'm looking at the average for these shows, 2,267. And to give you the context, at its peak, what they did in total was basically just over half of what they did that year. It was like 92,000 total. And COVID has had this, like, in terms of the ripple effect for this, and we know the reason why. Japan was much stricter in terms of its COVID regulation, so it took so much longer for New Japan to get back in. But then they never pushed younger guys. They never gave people a reason to care, while the older guys just got older and more broken down. And it felt like the one guy who wasn't as broke down in Hiroki Goto, this is the year that it kind of feels like his injury, and then obviously having to go away and film the Street Fighter film as well. That, I'm not saying he's an effect for it, but there's all of this combination of things of the stars aren't what they were, the bigger stars aren't there, it's not as interesting, and House of Torture has had a notable effect on these attendances over time. I mean, looking even like that final 6,870, and I remember asking Joe in the semi, he's like, what's it like then? He went, loads of space everywhere. It's really bad. Like, because that's a 15,000 arena. It was set up for the Tokyo Olympics, and then obviously that was like non-attended games in there as well. So it feels like we are so far away. And how do you remedy it? Well, there's no quick, easy fix. The only thing you can do is start okay, we're going to build these guys. And I saw this whole discourse about like the anger about like Takeshita because he's an outsider and he's there as the babyface against evil, and some people cheering evil.
That's a bit odd. And explains the crowd reaction, because people were with evil.
But there's a very easy solution to that, and that was have Yota Tsuji win and Takeshita as a heel. And then you get the best of both worlds. True. You get this young guy who they can go behind, who's a New Japan original, versus Takeshita. And instead, they've booked this scenario. It's not like it was forced upon them. You didn't have to have evil going over Yota Tsuji, but they did in a match which was, I don't know how it was. It was as good as an evil match is going to be in 2025, but that's not saying a hell of a lot. Like, if you compare that quality to a lot of the G1 finals, the vast majority of G1 finals, it was well down because of the bullshit and the interference. It's just that when they didn't have it and you had a standard wrestling match, it was almost like, oh, thank God. Like, it was a bit of that to it. But fuck me. I find it impossible to be enthused by New Japan. Like, I really do. It feels like, I mean, I know Gareth made a comment when he was on recently, and he's just like, oh, God, it's going to take a couple of years. And it's just like, and they've had a couple of years to be able to do this. Yu Uemura should have been there. I'm not saying Oiwa, it might have been a bit too soon, but there were all of these other people they could have gone with just to make it interesting of like, well, which of these guys are they going to go with? And they didn't go, they didn't go with any of them.
No, nobody really got much of a run, really. Yeah, maybe one or two, you could say. But it's like if I was doing, like I was saying to Karen, if I was doing Gedo's like job evaluation, like he'd be sacked either way. He'd be like, okay, Takeshita going over probably is like a bit of a positive, but too little, too bit late, mate. Your figures have been shit for months. You've been turning up late every day. You're smearing shit all over your monitor at this point, mate. This is how bad your work is. You've got to go. I don't care that you made us an extra 50 quid of bonuses. It's that bad. It really is. And like that was. You could feel it even in our community, everyone's interest just dissipating by the end. And I was higher on the final than most. I wouldn't go higher than 4 stars, point taken, and that's a G1 final. That's probably the ceiling of this tournament, really, about 4 stars. I can't think of anything that really exceeded that this year, but it was too little, too late. And even like obviously the main event the night before with Zack and Takeshita, too little, too late, because it was coming after the shit sandwich that you were served right before it. I just think everybody's patience has gone on it. Saying the same things Joe said, same things Karen said. Like I think it's the broad take most have at this point, no matter where you are on the fan spectrum.
Oh God, yeah. Because if you want the easy comparison,
5 years they've been going House of Torture. 5 years.
Fucking hell.
Okay, hell. I don't believe flat. By the way, there's no way Dexter's good again. No.
No.
Not
just seem to have brought it back with the cast, like with the same cast after trying to do an original one where it was going to be his son, and then there was a fucking prequel. But yeah, as a heel group, it's just like they get no reaction. I remember hearing Joe talk about Yujiro Takahashi just going, he should have been retired. It's like, yeah, you shouldn't.
It's like seeing a ghost in it. It's Ian Wright, that fella. Like, the fuck are you doing here? Like, that was probably Joe.
I mean, you could say that for like loads of them. It's just like there comes a point
Farley.
Oh my God, like, why is he there? Like, if you want him as this person training people out there, being a talent scout out in Australia and New Zealand, fine. Does not need to be any part of a G1 final or a semi-final. Shocking behaviour.
No, bad stuff. And yeah, I haven't seen a positive take out there. Like I say, I enjoyed that Chris Sampson's article on Voice of the Wrestling was very good about Takeshita, saying like he could be, well, how did he wear the ace of the aceless? Is how he worded it. You know, there's no ace in New Japan right now, so go with him as a stopgap. I think that's a good take if you believe they're going to follow through with the other lads. And there's nothing to say they actually are. But I guess moving on from G1, a couple of I'm finally stories, JP, before we move into the wacky world of AEW.
Well, we've wondered where Gable Steveson is going to end up because it's not a WrestleMania main event, as we could be very certain about. Instead, he's going to be making his MMA debut at LFA 217. What is LFA, you ask? Well, don't fucking ask me. I haven't got a clue on there. It's just a much lesser MMA promotion. And considering that UFC are kind of desperate for any stars, it's very weird that they've not brought him in.
It's been a political hit. Sean Chips on my side. I take it on my side. You've buried them. It was a year ago. I got my obviously winning the bet with Matty when we were live.
Yeah,
good to see Liam in the chat there. Yes, speaking of him and others who were there in the building, got to see Matty to claim me as tribal chief because of the Gable bet. You know, there we go. I should have doubled down, shouldn't I? You know, is he ever going to work for UFC? I should have gone for that instead of WWE.
I wouldn't be surprised if he loses this. Because I would assume, and this is, sorry to go into MMA chat, does he have a striking game at all? It's pretty important. There's lots of people. I watched a guy, Aaron Pico, who was built up to the next big thing in Bellator because of his college wrestling, lost his debut. And he's lost like 5 times. He was knocked out by a British guy at the weekend. Like, he's wrestling at the Mystic Lake, he's fighting, I should say, Steveson, at the Mystic Lake Casino in Prior Lake, Minnesota, up against Braden Peterson as well, which feels like a combination of Braden Harrington and Karen Peterson, just sort of like, which means I immediately hope they win. Like, I really do. He won 14 seconds into his pro debut last month, so it'll be interesting if he's any good whatsoever. I would expect to see UFC go in there and swoop him up as
I think something's happened, other than the obvious that we all know about that makes him a fucking bastard anyway. But like, there's just something they don't want to touch him. Maybe they've made a good decision once. You know?
If they don't want to touch him, that tells you a hell of a lot, doesn't it? Tells you.
Well, speaking of things, I don't want to touch. I did throw in another I'm finally story. Is I think our podcast is bad. Look what you could be watching, folks. Look what you could be listening to. As Bully Ray was the latest guest on Undertaker's podcast here. As are they going to get me for copyright, JP? The Bully Ray and on Undertaker. Doing shots, talking shit about how the business should be. ECW legend Bully Ray. Undertaker talks about. I bet you he goes on about the edging like Cope and Christian did. That he's the one part of the greatest tag teams of all time with no pushback from Undertaker. Maybe he'd go, you'd be number 2 behind me and Glenn. Maybe that's how the conversation goes. Fuck me. You couldn't pay me enough money to watch these two fucking blowhard. That looks like it was backstage AAA. Maybe they filmed it there. Maybe that's what happened.
Oh, maybe so. When he's doing his agenting work, I mean, they should retitle this podcast. Just call it Cunts, and just have it that way. That's really what it is, isn't it? It's just like two cunts sat there as well. I mean, because Bully Ray is just like the worst kind of shock jock as well. And the Dudley Boys, not one of the greatest teams of all time. You take away the
Landers audio on that.
I did.
It's fantastic. I think I don't know what the number was. It was something like 200 teams he listed that were all better than the Dudleys. And it was, I disagree there. I want to do the same with Cope and Christian, but maybe we'll get there.
Shocking.
There we go.
Absolutely shocking.
Well, on that note, I've titled this as we move into the world of AEW JP. And like I say, there's a few extra news stories on AEW that you will get on the JP News Dump over on the Patreon tomorrow. Available on all tiers, including the free one. Proper shill in that today. Get yourself one. Just sign up, put your email address in. It's sound. We're not going to spam you. You'll get nothing but good content. But yes, on the AEW front, there isn't a huge amount of news. Most of it's related to Dynamite and obviously the weekend. So aside the JP, we'll do and firstly rather than and finally, and I feel like the best way to segue us into the weekend is Simon talks about cunts we'd avoid in Wetherspoons, which yes, if you saw Bully Ray and Mark the Undertaker standing around, you'd very much walk the other way. Mercedes Moné has been doing the rounds in the final promotion for this gigantic weekend coming up. JP trying all kinds of British food as I mentioned to Karen yesterday on the live. Obviously, she tried pickled eggs. This was on Snack Wars UK.
I watched it.
Was not a fan of the pickled eggs. I've seen little clips of it. What did she like and what didn't she like, JP? What's the what was the overall takeaway from it? I know she's not a fan of a British breakfast. She's had some controversial takes on her Twitter over the last while. Might just be the Red Wings. Maybe she's not a fan of the Red Wings.
I think so. I mean, like, if you want to see the positives, pickled onion Monster Munch. She had that over what Snoop Dogg has some branded crisps. Like,
I saw. That's the bit I saw. Yeah.
And she went with the pickled onion Monster Munch, which makes me feel if you do see her at the Rev Pro shows and you wanted to give her a gift, packet of just buy a fucking 6-pack. I'm sure you can get them for like £1.50 with a club card. Obviously, you know, save yourself. Otherwise, it's $2.25, and that's just too much for 6 bags.
I've heard the prices are going up, mate, for the meal deal. Somebody said like $3.85 or something like that now.
They can get fucked on that. That's massive. That's step too far. And I live near 2 of the bastards there as well. Do you like Savoy? She didn't like hot dogs. She was like, I don't really like this. Savoy, she did like that. Then she was given a porn star martini, and then she had tequila, and she just chucked the tequila into the martini and went, that sounded really good. I don't know if this is filmed at like 8 a.m. I think that's more of a cry for help than anything else. Pickled eggs she hated. I don't blame her for that. It's not really what I would go in there as well. She didn't like licorice all sorts, and I thought, yeah, I'm not surprised. She didn't strike you as like sort of a licorice all sorts type person there as well. And then she liked the Boston cream pie over Colin the Caterpillar, which just trying to explain that as well. It's like the time Cody Rhodes was eating Percy pigs. Like, it's just, it's the novelty of it as well. But it was 4-4 in the end. And normally the Yanks go like, no, come on, we just like the American stuff and that's it. Rather than that as well. But Savoy, if you turn up with a Savoy, I think she might just look at you like you're a strange.
Never been a Savoy guy, gotta be honest.
I always have been. Yeah, I don't know what it is. And yeah, it might just be the homoerotic nature of the sausage itself. But like between that, I think if you just turn up with some pickled onion Monster Munch, she'd be all right. And if she's not going to eat them, I'm sure the big Mexican lad and the woolly mask, he'll have a few of those and he wouldn't say no. So like he'd be well up for that.
Well, I had to throw in as well. She wasn't even the heel of the weekend when it came to food. Promise, this all ties into Dynamite. We're all to get into it. Mira Blair, obviously of Rev Pro fame, manager of Michael Oku, did post on her Twitter. She took the headlines this week, Nick, for this Demon English Fry she put on Twitter. I saw people who I don't even think I would have known know who Amira or what Rev Pro is or who Michael Oku is giving a shit over this, mate. What is this thing that she's posted up as a fry up, mate? I know I've been out the country a while. I haven't had a fry up in a while, but I don't remember them looking like this. Scrambled eggs, beans, 2 okay looking sausages, hash browns. You got me there. Hash brown and beans, I think is a good combo. Olives, pickles, and a slice of cheese. What's this, mate? What's she doing?
What the fuck is this?
Is she on the market? I mean, it's good on the market. I've seen nothing but it. I literally put the word Amira into Google to find this image, and she was the first result. So, you know, trending. It worked. A crime scene plot says in the chat.
It is a crime scene.
This was the most controversial thing going on this weekend for most of our people.
We could talk about the stuff that's missing. That's not an English fry. That's not an Irish fry.
And she's Irish as well, yeah.
Yeah, she's from Northern Ireland.
She mentioned she's going to post a few Irish dishes on Twitter, yeah. And they've got good tasting fries, I know, from personal experience.
Never did my dad say to me, come on, will you do the fry up now and you make sure you get the olive and pickles on there? Because I'd look at him and go, mate, what the fuck are you on about? You're not having that. And I'm not cooking it on general principle. as well. And that hash brown is buried underneath it, which means the taste of the pickle will be going through not only onto the beans, onto the hash brown, onto the sausages, and onto the scrambled eggs. And she's worked hard on the scrambled eggs, good texture. Sausages look all right. But those two bits of the cheese, it feels like it's a crime, but it's a lesser crime. Those two bits in the middle, that's scandalous.
If I'm honest, like I'm just looking at it, I was ready to slag this off, and I did slag this off. But the more I look at it, JP, I mean, if you chuck the cheese, I think I might eat it. I don't think I'd enjoy elements of it. I don't, like you say, the pickles. It's just a step too far in it. Olives, I like olives on any given day. I like olives, I like pickles on a Subway sandwich. Olives with pickles and some jalapenos, great combination. I'll probably pick them and put them to the side. I think the rest though, like I like a hash brown covered in baked beans. I'm all right with that. Sausages don't look too bad. She just let herself down with it's the combination.
Does it not look like she's very hungover? She had those few bits in, and she's just like, "Fuck it, I'll eat anything." Chicken, chuck this on there. Oh, just some toast, Amira. Like really, and the type of bread. That's up to you. You have free will. But like honestly, like the pickles and the fucking pickles and the olives have just they got to me. I looked at that and I thought I would puke. Unless that was the intention of just like trying to get that kind of level of reaction in there as well. Fucking hell.
We cover the important stuff over here on
we are.
Spotlight then /Spotlight /Weekend Show. It's both this week.
We're going to get a nasty message from Michael Oku about this. It's like not a personal thing, but come on, we all know better than this.
I'm still saying I'd probably eat it though, so maybe I'm a hypocrite. But yes, obviously there is other news going on AEW, which again JP will cover in the news tomorrow. Like I mentioned, September to Remember being trademark for the 2300 arena residency coming up, and obviously I don't know, maybe we could mention it, the Danhausen story, which is I put it on the Discord. Like if people haven't seen it, he's supposed to be. He's being held to his contract by AEW, which for some is the long and short of it. But why is the question? Is it's more complex than that? Because me, JP, I don't really cry for any wrestlers' bank accounts, especially ones I don't know personally. But I also don't cheer along, gigantic corporations. So like, there's space in the middle there. I think at the end of the day, I said that on Discord. The problem here is these stupid contracts that stupid wrestlers with no representation because they're stupid and they don't have unions like sign mean that companies can do this to them. And it is. I don't think it's not a moral thing. It's not a nice thing that when companies do this. Where it's like, you got hurt on the job for us. Well, fuck you. Here's an extra 6 months when you want to leave. Like, and when we don't. And added to that, we don't even want to use it. It's not even like kind of fucking Isaac situation at Newcastle. Like, it's not like they want Danhausen on Dynamite they're not going to use him anyway. They just want to keep him away from WWE, which is like you said there. Why? Like, does that really matter? Is him selling a few fucking puppets through AAA really going to hurt AEW? Like, it's not worth it from any point of view, isn't it? Even if I might be a bit more mellow and in the middle on it, the people who do see this as like the big act of a villainous company, like, why bother? Why do you want people to feel like that? Just fucking Danhausen. Who cares?
Get rid. Like I mean, I was saying, like,
literally.
it's like Tomiyasu at Arsenal. Got released because basically he's going to be injured for all of this year and he's just not going to get fully fit. So you just go, it's a World Cup year, go back to Japan, just sort yourself out. Don't and they reached a deal in terms of how much he get paid as a lump sum.
Is Japan as Phil's locker room in WWE? Fair enough.
But with this Danhausen one, like, I mean, I would have used him as like a fucking Trojan horse. Gone, there you go, off to WWE. You go and stink the place up over there. And do shit with Mr. Iguana and just drive fans away. That's more in hope than in expectation for it to be. But like, I just look at him and go, like, I've never liked him, even from the first time he came on our radar.
I don't feel that strong about it. I know you feel stronger than I do. I would, if I was AEW, I'd use him. I mean, he sells a few t-shirts and he can turn up on Collision for 10 minutes, but I know that's not a popular take and I'll keep that quiet because I think most of our audience will agree with you and disagree. But either way, if that's the stance of the company, if Tony Khan literally is just like, I signed this bloke because he kept turning up to conventions that Phil Brooks was at and put a word in and got him a contract, like, cool, get rid of him now. You clearly don't like him. It's clearly not your type of wrestler. He'll be like Phoenix. In a few months, he'll just quietly be released and he'll turn up on fucking TripleMania 7 or whatever it is, or the 8th Worlds Collide, and we'll be off to the races. That will happen. I think Punk has got at least enough sway for that. But there we go. We spent more time on the Danhausen story than I planned. My segue was going to be talking of roasts, talking of breakfasts, talking of snacks, talking of foods. AEW Dynamite this week, which of course kicked off. It wasn't in our sweepstakes on Grapple Live, JP. We were trying to guess what the Ospreay British reference was going to be after Barry Scott last year. Got a couple of guesses, but we didn't get Greg's. Should have got right there, mate. Greg's and a sausage roll chant on AEW Dynamite this week. What a great introduction. Maybe me miss home, mate. It was funny stuff.
Oh, it was
promo
great
afterwards. Obviously, we'll get into the serious side all the time too.
But the way that he did, I mean, it was that kind of low hanging fruit. But you need to be able to do it, and you need to be able to do it in a way that's convincing. And
we had a Patreon here called Greggle for 18 months, so
Yeah,
I thought that, but
and I think in some ways, it was the way that he did it. It was like, I'm wandering through the centre of Glasgow, all of a sudden, blue lights, open late, Greg's, and you just think, it was easy. What I loved about it, and I mentioned it earlier on, is when he went proper sausage rolls, not those vegan ones. To which Bryan Danielson stood up and went, "Hey." And then I
know. I didn't like that myself. The vegan ones are good. They're tasty. If you haven't had one, just get one.
I've had them. I'm not upset by them. I just prefer the original one.
They're just a different experience to me. They're similar but different. Yeah. But I don't think they're even worse.
It's if you're wanting to babyface yourself in every town in the UK, no one from WWE would even have the capacity to think of this. You don't just turn up with like a standard football shirt, like I'm going to wear a Man United shirt in Manchester without realising that some people support other clubs in cities. Yeah. In this one, just talk about Greg's. You're going to get you're not going to get booed out of the place, are you? And I thought he delivered that like really, really well for it. So it was a
good intro, wasn't it? So what was overall a really good serious promo. I think that's got to be a tradition now. Every year he's going to come up with some shite like that. We'll see if we can give him any material coming up. But I enjoyed it anyway. Babyface him to me. He turned it into like a proper fiery babyface promo that it seems like there's some truth in. Like it sounds like he's going for some kind of surgery. Like it hasn't been outright reported yet, but that seems to be the take that's coming there. And buy it. What it is, neck, shoulder, or combination of both. I've seen a different talk on what it is, but again, he's a wrestler, so he's leaning on that reality to tell you a story. Like it clearly is not a shoot to the extent that like he's just going into this match with his neck hanging off and his shoulder hanging off, and he's gonna see what he can do and leave it all in the ring. But like, there's probably a percentage of truth to that, and there's clearly like that's what that match is, isn't it? It's all of the literal broken toys, all of the injured lads in one big match hiding their injuries. So and it makes sense from a kayfabe point of view that you can be like, the company wouldn't clear me, but this is unsanctioned, this is lights out, and that's why I announced the match. Like, he did a really good job of threading it all together and making it make sense, in leading into the 6-man that followed.
Oh, absolutely.
Looked over the building, as Simon says there.
Yeah, I think it leads in like, you have this match, you'd have the baby faces win. Then next night on, the next time on Dynamite, then you'd have him being taken out by the Death Riders. Darby Allin comes out to save. You have the Darby Mox feud, and then Ospreay goes away, surgery, rehab, whatever is those essential things, and then be able to come back, because that would be the play that I think that they'll end up doing. It's the thing that makes the kind of most sense to be because at least what they've at least managed to do is tie all of this in with Moxley as well, and make him be the responsible one for it. Good, because it keeps Moxley out of the main event scene. If you're going from a Darby Allin feud, which they telegraphed,
it's been seamless
time, and into a Will Ospreay one, it's been seamless. It's been actually like very, very good how they've maneuvered Moxley away from Hangman Page.
Yeah, the only negative is I saw people say it, and I guess it's because this match and because Will just is the bigger star. Like, feels like Ospreay Mox now. It doesn't feel like Darby Mox, which was the match they were clearly building for a while there. Darby feels like he's been knocked down a few pegs in the pecking order in this thing. Minor negative though, because Darby can't sell these matches like Ospreay can on the mic, which is no particularly mad sentence when it's Darby, but it's a mad sentence when you're talking about Ospreay talking people into the building. But yeah, that's only minor negative to me. I didn't even, the Bullet Club War Dogs, as you say, like getting involved, like just funny seeing Robbie X on the Dynamite. Like, I was like, wow, that's cool. Like, good for him. Good to see Drilla Baloney knocking around as well. Like, but that felt a little bit too little too late, but it was at least it was a bit of an answer to obviously what me and Karen were saying on the live, and what we've been saying generally, that you could do a little bit more of New Japan stuff on the undercard. I guess the counter was clear as day for everyone though, because I think most people just thought, who these security blokes? Is this a load of fans? Like, I don't think people 100% really knew who they were, but it made sense, and like you say, it gave us a way to continue on this jet speed Moxley stuff, which again has its own problems in that very clearly, they weren't planning on doing this match at the time. They had Moxley start working with the lads, and now they're like two spare parts, aren't they, who aren't in the match at all, but are very much key to the build. But speaking of which, sorry, I've got to mention, like, I'm burying the lead here. They were obviously a big part of this, but poor Tanahashi, because obviously he did the whole ECW thing, didn't he, with the Ospreay promo leading to the brawl, leading to the War Dogs, leading to the match. the bit that they had written down that they probably should have changed was, and then Tanahashi runs out with the save, because good God, like, this was like old man running for the bus, your uncle doing the jog to the dance floor, like the old Peter Kay stand-up line, like, he felt so bad for him with his fucking elbows for knees trying to get out there in any kind of rush. I think he was slower trying to go faster than he would have been if he'd just fucking walked. It was it was funny, but also sad, like mostly sad. Like, Jesus,
he could have rolled down there at twice the speed. Like, it was. I just Tana Steptoe, because that's what it is, isn't it? It's just it's if you play that Steptoe and Son music to him waddling down there, like that's what I had in my mind for it. And it's sad. It's just like, you just don't put him in that kind of scenario. You don't need to put him in that kind of scenario. You didn't need to necessarily have him, like, in terms of like sort of running out there, but like they went sort of straight into the match. But yeah, Simons is in running like Unlucky Al for the bus. Like, it was just this. It also then just confirms this, like, okay, like, in all seriousness, like, I don't ever want to give him grief because of just the amount of like hard work that he's done for the company. I mean, like we talked about, like, how bad New Japan is. Part of the reason it ever got good in the first place, or a big part of the reason it got good, was him and him alone for like the longest period of time. So, but it did make me feel like, oh God, I'll be kind of glad when he retires, because it's just like these memories of this last year, they won't be the things that ultimately stick with us. It will just be like, yeah, he was kind of broken down for the last year, but at least he's retiring at the right time, which isn't to be said for some of the other ones. But oh my God, yeah. It's said it's just like an bugger as he gets in the ring, getting hit with a fucking what was it? What's the DDT that Moxley does? The name doesn't come. The Paradigm
Switch. I was going to say Switchblade. Then it's not that. It's a Paradigm DDT. Yeah. That's it. Yeah, I just felt bad for him because he's working Dynamite, and also he's going to be working Rev Pro, and also he's going to be working the pay-per-view at the weekend. Like, putting himself through it this last year or so.
After a G1.
Yeah, it's not just Ospreay. Obviously interesting. You obviously know Kenny. Wonder if he's getting another elite flight over to Minnesota. We'll see when we get them. But fair enough build for a match. It's going to be wacky. You got the big Derby dive, didn't you? Yeah. Again, we should talk, like, obviously the show in general. It was cool to see that setting. Is it the Hydro you're in front of there? Is it? I think.
No, not the Hydro. This one.
Palace?
This is the.
No, it's not Crystal Palace. It's not that nice. No way.
Where am I going to on Sunday?
Oh fuck! Is that the O2?
That's the O2.
I've never seen it with the lights up. Yeah, of course. There we go. It makes more sense than my guesses. But yeah, it was cool seeing Derby dive off it, and it was cool to see wrestling there. Obviously, to be honest, like, I did feel like the Simon mentioned there, the crowd not recognizing the War Dogs, and him not recognizing the War Dogs. Only the crowd. I believe the crowd were great. Like, every live report I've had is that the crowd were great. For Dynamite, at least. It didn't always come across. I didn't feel like they were mic'd particularly well, but in moments like that, it came across as like a big time segment. And again, starting with Ospreay, the not hometown boy, but we can lean into that history of going to Scotland. I wonder who the promoters are that brought him up there, that didn't pay for his hotel, all of that stuff. But great way to start off anyway. The little UK tour, but mini UK tour. We'll get into a bigger UK tour in a while, but yeah, that was on the show. Do you want to tell the MJF shite next?
Yeah.
What do we like? Go on, we'll do that next. There's two things we ate, so like we'll do the. I assume we ate. I say we. I ate it. Maybe you'll feel the same way. At least it was short. I'll say about the MJF stuff. Like, I was under the belief that, like, I was watching Dynamite pretty much right before we came live tonight, and I was waiting for it, and it was 5 minutes of the show, really, outside of, the setup stuff they did earlier on the show. But it was still a really bad 5 minutes of the show, and I don't understand how we got here. Like, I do feel like there's a bit of messiness to this Forbidden Door build, and a little bit of maybe eyes on the Fulham transfer window to it, just a guess, going on right now. And this felt part of it, because felt like last week we made it quite clear that we were doing MJF versus Hangman, and there wasn't going to be any briefcase shenanigans, and MJF got the best of Hangman. And this week we're doing again, we love the fucking Hangman and Swerve stuff in the end, but I don't think anybody necessarily would recommend leaning into the wacky stuff that they did again. Leaning into I'm going to light him on fire stuff with Mark Briscoe and using it to retcon it, and now making a match where he can win by DQ or count out, and he doesn't have to use the briefcase. Just scream to me like they changed their mind in the last week or so and they want to do something different with it, whether it's, as I've been saying for a while, MJF loses and then cashes in immediately, and then maybe loses again and it's because of Mark Briscoe or something like that. I think that might be exactly what they're planning on doing, but I don't think it was the plan last week, and it just felt a really weird and, like I say, quite unbelievable segment. Like the extremes they went through with it as well just felt out of place really on what was mostly, like I say, a feel-good show, seeing AEW in Glasgow.
That was my problem with it. Is just well, you're not going to set him on fire, are you? Because the first thing Hangman should have been shouting when he was watching it on the big screen, he's just like, get the fucking police there. They're going to set a bloke on fire. You just don't believe it, and it takes you out of that moment. It's not just like, here's this heel stable that he's managed to get in with Ricochet and the GOA in order to beat him up, and then that's the kind of like the end of it, and then Hangman has to run back and save Mark Briscoe. It's just like, no. I mean, and part of the problem is obviously you've already got your big lights out schmoz style kind of like wackiness, and it feels like this match now is going to be full of that, which I don't think it didn't really need that. Like, I mean, and I don't like when all of these stipulations and stuff. I was like, what the fuck?
It's been overthought, hasn't it? Like a lot of MJF stuff goes,
It feels like he's gone in and gone, right, I've got an idea of what we can do this week in order to get some heat. And it was kind of lazy. It really was. And so, yeah, I just disliked it. I'll talk about match predictions when we go on to sort of like previewing like Forbidden of what I think will actually happen with it. But it was just fucking bad TV.
Daft. It was the worst extremes of MJF, and like I know Hangman coming out and getting the big reaction was nice to see. I fucking loved Hangman arriving on the train. Like, I don't know what that train is, I don't know what that station is. I thought it was Dax from FTR behind him. It was just some fucking bald bloke with a beard, with a mustache, who was just looking at the camera like, what the fuck's going on here? I don't know what. I guess it was that a shot of Phil at Wembley? I feel like it probably was.
Yeah,
that's what they were leading into.
Yeah,
but I don't know. I want more of that though. It's fucking. Imagine that. Imagine getting off the train and fucking there's the AW roster, or there's at least Hangman Page. It was just funny and looked like $1 million in his fucking jacket with like, I don't know if he had the belt, did he? Had the little wheeler suitcase. You just be looking at him going like, who's he? He looks important. Why is there a camera on him?
That's it, isn't it? It was the weirdest thing. I was thinking, like, is this a commuter train? Because it doesn't look like it's not going into like a main station. It feels like one that's going to be stopping in all tiny little stops, isn't it?
Someone will let us know. There'll be someone out there who knows. Yeah. Did Simon get the train? I guess it turned up on time, so Simon couldn't have been on.
Like that one on County Road. It'd just be like he turns up there and you're like, right, all right. Like, where the fuck are you going? Like, I mean, it would have been more realistic if you'd had a couple of people with no tops on looking half pissed by a train station, because that's quite often what you see a lot of the times.
I saw that tonight. It's been raining out. There was a bloke just stood outside with his top off.
Oh, jeez. The thing about this segment is while I get the in joke, yeah, I get why they think it's funny, and don't get me wrong, there is an amusing part to it. This was also the stuff that was big part of the problems they've had, like in going into 2023 and into early 2024. Like, these were the things they were doing. It was like these little kind of shots. It's like, don't do it when you've ignored all of that stuff and put it just behind you. You're in a much better place. It's not important enough of a joke that you need to kind of like include in this if you're taking a serious point from it.
So that was that. The other big negative on the show. Sorry, the positives. I'm sure we're going to talk positives about the people. I'll give you the positive. Pre-show, Grado coming out to like a prayer. Yeah. That moment, I wish I was there. JP, the Shield there, 2 Doors Down Christmas special coming this year as well. There's your biggest star in Brit Res. Good to see it proven. Can't have a Hydro show without Grado coming out. I thought that was brilliant. But to paper that with a negative, Cope and Christian. You disappointed me, Scotland. Especially if anybody in our audience was singing along with that fucking boring cunt. But I say bad. To be fair, I think this was probably the best version of what it could be with Cope and Christian. I think I've made the argument a few times about where we are in that story and whether it makes any sense that the teaming already. I think this is the best way you can do it though. If you're going to be at this point and rush into this tag match and rush into them teaming up because clearly something changed there, you just make it where it's like, yeah, Cope's a goodie and Christian's continuing to be that same villain character that he is, rather than trying to just change it, give him a personality transplant and make them a babyface tag team. I still don't want to see it. I think Kill Switch makes sense. I'm guessing they probably had him planned for a run-in or something like that, and it just makes sense. Well, you can take Nick Wayne's spot in the match instead rather than being the run-in or surprise or something like that, so that makes sense too. I still just don't want to see any of it, and I don't want to see fucking Nick Wayne's mom who's got it going on cutting fucking promos, and I don't want to see Kip Sabian on a big show.
No.
Somebody put on that Discord that they look like, was it a Discord, the group chat, where they look like a couple you'd see dogging Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne's mom.
Yeah.
Gonna make one. He's got the hair. He's like that little bit weirdly younger, and she's just, she looks great, but there's a certain type there with the acts that she's putting on here in AEW, and they are Cope and Christian's first opponents, and yeah, we've clearly rushed here.
We have. All my hope is that this ultimately leads to something that's quite quick, because at least Nick Wayne isn't there. And it's very obvious the person who should be destroyed in the match can easily just be destroyed in the meantime. In terms of the Christian stuff, it is, I mean, partly it's like, yeah, it makes sense that he's still an arsehole and that he hasn't changed. Like, that I can kind of get. But we've still rushed into all of this. We should have been, this is stuff that should be happening months down the road if you're insistent on doing it. But they've still sped their way into it. So what I feel is going to end up is you're just going to end up having this kind of like good cop, bad cop banter between them. Like, we're going to get loads of that over the next few weeks, with Christian being a funny heel and doing the dad stuff and stuff.
Doing
like
MJF,
that.
really, isn't he? He's a heel, but we love him, really.
Yes.
Like, everyone
That's
needs an arsehole. I'm sure that was literally one of MJF's lines. I'm sure Coach just fucking stole that. You don't want to be stealing that from him. But there you go.
I guarantee you, when his song is playing on, I am not fucking singing. I am not singing a single word.
Joe will. Joe's a fucking 2010s Fed fan on the sly, and he loves mid 2000s Cope and the lads.
I will have a word with Joe about that if he does start doing it as well. Cooper is more of a man of taste. I want to say that, but Joe just needs
good taste of music and creates great music as well. I always tell him that when I see him. I think he hates it now, but I was a big fan.
He's married now these days. But yeah, it was one of these things that was, I felt it was like kind of throwaway. I just didn't want to see it on my TV, but it felt like they were just going to throw this onto the show, and they did, and they've got the move to Kill Switch. So
yeah, there we go. Well, the big positive coming out of it, and it was the big thing that a lot of people in our community were saying, was Bro Dido and FTR, you need to see this. Like, I bet if I was in the building, I'd have been going wild with everyone else. It was one of those matches that in the first half where I was just a bit, I'm not sure this is good as everyone was saying. And then you get to the point where obviously you get the little bit of blood, and then it kind of it's on from there, isn't it? With Brody King, and yeah, it was very, very good. And I didn't, to be honest, I hadn't fully read the spoilers. And I actually didn't click on, clearly they're going long gear because they're going to do a draw, because clearly there's some kind of politics going on with Hate Syndicate not wanting to lose to FTR. Or maybe they're playing into the politics that we all heard about a few weeks ago. But like, I didn't click on. I just thought, they're having a great match just to have one on this Glasgow Dynamite. And then when it ended in the draw, I was like, oh, I get it. Okay, that's what we're doing. Which is fine. I think maybe the plan was always FTR. Maybe the sheets were wrong. But Brodido have gotten over in this. I hate that fucking name, but they've gotten over in this tournament. So why not lean into it? You've got them all over here. Why not do the 3-way? It's an undercard match. I'm fine with it. I think it's fine booking, and it was a very good match. I understand why people were loving it live.
And it'll make it a fun match.
Right,
and if they play into it as well, like, and again, I'll probably talk more about this. Like, there's a way that you can, at least with a 3-way, I think it'll be a fun match. I think it'll have a lot more pace to it with Bandido and Brody King in there as well. You'll get your Brody King, Bobby Lashley bit in there as well at the same time. But in terms of this match as well, like
they look $1 million backstage as well. Fucking love it when they hit and they have like the cap and t-shirt like combo. They look fucking all-star team. Brilliant stuff.
I've
got a real soft spot for them. They are cunts, and the matches aren't great. I agree with all the criticism. Still enjoy watching them on telly.
And I think we're going to be getting them versus FTR is going to be an extended thing. We are going to be. I think there's going to be some stuff they're going to be end up doing with this.
Maybe they won't get their own way.
Yeah. But in terms of this match, I thought it was a really good TV match. Like I say, as soon as you got into the second half of it as well, and like with the draw, it wasn't like it was being like sort of universally panned. It was like, oh no, we're getting both of them in the match. Okay, cool. We've seen this,
especially after watching that match. They were a bit quick for the announcement for me. I wanted it, like, they needed that little bit more drama. It felt like it just, the air was taking out the room a little bit. But yeah, both teams were great. FTR like fucking busting out, fucking cash busting out like that. Tornado DDT on the floor and stuff. And like fucking, I like the comment. I think we haven't really mentioned the commentary. Obviously, Brian was covering for them a little bit in the close of the match, being like, oh, I guess Brody can't hear the count. Guess he doesn't realize there's only 30 seconds to go. Why is he not going for a win? They got covered for a little bit there, but like they built up the drama well, and yeah, it felt like end that they went to draw. Like I say, I didn't really notice.
Finished in a great way as well, with Cash Wheeler just diving through the ropes through the table head first. It was like, fuck. And then the bell went. It was like, Jesus Christ, that was fun. Yeah.
So Connor says here in the chat he can see Wembley. Connor, you've gone the wrong way, mate. The other way.
On the wrong side of London, mate. Entirely wrong side. You're in northwest London. Get yourself over to southeast.
It's good this though. I like to imagine all the people in the cars making the trip on the train on the way down. Hopefully listening to us. Love it. But yeah, second best match in the night, Plateaus. Oh yeah, Collision. There is that as well. And yeah, so that was great. And the main event didn't really feel like a main event to me. It felt a bit lazy. And again, it feels like we're on EWR. EWR didn't give you TW autopilot at the minute. And fuck it, let's just put all the women in tag, and it'll set up all the women's stuff we've got going on with Toni Storm and Alex Windsor against Athena and Monet. The crowd were in entrances. Everyone felt over. Match started. It felt like old school British. Because I was there at Wembley when like the women's match happens and the toilets get full. It looked like that. It felt like that. I think I saw reports saying that, and that. Yeah, are odds with how over the characters were coming out at the start, and I think the match suffered as well. Again, it might be one of those things where it was Mike wrong or there's one of those issues, but felt a bit anticlimactic. I thought. I'd seen some negative reviews of Dynamite this week. I mostly enjoyed it, outside of MJF, and I'm never going to enjoy Cope and Christian, but overall, I thought it was a good show. I think this ending is probably the thing that's sticking in people's mind. It was just a bit 6 out of 10, wasn't it? It was a bit, all right, okay.
Yeah.
Guess we've got those matches this weekend too.
That's what it was. It felt like they've already got the card for Forbidden Door. We're going to have this. We're going to have a hot crowd, but there's only a certain amount they're going to want to give away for something like this. And obviously, we would have had Ring of Honor tapings. The Ring of Honor tapings were before Dynamite, weren't they? And then into Dynamite, and then Dynamite, you had Collision. So like, it was just like that's a marathon taping for that kind of stuff. And I remember seeing in the Discord as well, people having to leave early.
I don't think we'll go into like Collision spoilers too much. I don't think there's much we can spoil other than what was good and bad, I guess. But I will say, like, one of the things that's obviously Tony Khan addressed the crowd following the Dynamite section, obviously talking about the idea of them coming back. So told the Glasgow crowd AEW might return to the UK sooner than expected. Is the quote that we've got here. Obviously, they didn't. Like you said there, with Glasgow, we'll get the final number, but it looks like they came close to shifting the lot. I wonder if the walk-up is going to be maybe the Grado where the mouth is going to give us an extra few hundred or something, JP, at this point. But yeah, the last word was they distributed 7,700 for an 8,000 setup. So yeah, almost certainly they mostly sold that thing out when they got there. And Tony Khan seemed happy with it, and yeah, did outright say that it will be before All In next year that they're going to be seeing them back. He said he can promise we're going to keep coming back over here over and over again. Maybe we'll speed things up for you because you Scottish fans might be the best wrestling fans in the world. Maybe we don't have to wait until next summer to come back to the UK. Tony Khan's been listening to you, JP. That sounds like a UK tour, which, yeah, if you could see like little Dynamites like this, it'd be great.
Absolutely. Like that has always been the play. They get good crowds over here. They're over here for 2 weeks. Think of all the various cities, whether you're Newcastle, Liverpool, Manchester, Birmingham. Do the Copper Box if you wanted to do a smaller London arena. There's so many good places they could go to do TV, and they wouldn't be burning out cities to be able to do it. The time you'd look to do it is you'd want to think. I mean, because obviously we'll have an announcement for All In at Forbidden Door. I'd expect that to be the case, and then you would say do a tour in January or February, and then what you do is you get everyone over, and then you start flooding. It's like when the tickets go on sale, get that initial rush, quietens down, then have this tour, and then that word of mouth says, well, you need to come and see us at All In because that's the next time we're going to be here. And then they can use it as part of proper in-canon TV. Have it for 2 weeks, 2 weeks, be able to do it. I think that would be spot on.
Maybe it was the Hydro, but maybe it was seeing Ospreay out there and going, oh yeah, he hasn't done. It feels like he's done more shows like this. He hasn't. He's only been AEW.
Yeah.
Obviously, he was at the first All In, so I guess he was technically there. But it just reminded me of seeing British guys on TNA shows in front of these mad crowds, and made me think, yeah, that's what the future is. But they've already announced All In next year. It's I can't get that part because it feels a little bit like maybe. And I don't know how they'll do for All In next year. I feel like they probably do better just doing tours like this. It almost feels like we're at that natural point where it's all right, cool, we've done the All Ins at Wembley. Now we're going to do regular tours in the UK and prop our TV up 4 times a year or something like that. How great would that be? That feels like the natural conclusion to what Tony Khan said and what we saw. But we also know that we're doing All In next year. That's not being my pushback to you, but I think you take it as a counterpoint that if they're gonna run these arena shows or do an arena tour, it's probably not gonna help All In overall. It's probably there's gonna be a percentage of those people I've seen AEW this year. I went to the TV. I don't need to go to Wembley. I don't think the two things necessarily work greatly in lockstep. I almost think the natural move now, maybe it'll happen next year after one more go at Wembley, and then we kind of accept maybe reality if the numbers aren't on what they think. But yeah, it just seems a little bit at odds with itself.
I can see the point. I think it's a fair counterpoint, and we're not going to know until they try it. I just think you can use that tour as basically a marketing tour for AEW in the UK, particularly if they're over here for an extended period of time. And there's so many different cities, and there's so many venues that they could go to, like a proper kind of arena tour they can go to. If you think of each of the big cities have these arena tours. Have these arenas around, and you can get some good use out of that. So I think that's something that it's the timing of it. Really, you want to make sure that you're giving yourself if you're doing it in February, you've got 6 months to All In,
so
you're not burning it out, and the ticket prices aren't as prohibitive as WWE. Because I think that's the problem with WWE. It's if you're going there once for the year, unless you've got money to burn, you're really going to go, right, well, I'm not going to be able to afford this every time, because if you're paying 200 quid for a ticket for a house show, fucking, you're not going to be able to afford that each and every time.
My take is an arena tour coupled with 6 months later a stadium show at Craven Cottage or a similar size venue or Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Maybe actually that's probably a bit too big, but you know what I mean.
I'll go there with my Eze shirt then in that case for that one.
Goodison Park, let's say that. Let's revamp that and we'll do it there. But something like that would make sense. I think just that little knock-on effect that's going to happen anyway. It being the 3rd year, with one skipped. I think it might accelerate it a touch. But yeah, we'll see. I take your point too. We'll see what happens. It's worth trying, and it's something that will look great and will make Dynamite look great, and it made Impact look great back in the day as well. So you don't want to see more of it, because this was overall a very different experience, and I really enjoyed it. As far as the viewing experience goes, it feels like the people who were there live maybe had a bit of a struggle from reading our chat there. It sounds like it was a long night. I won't give spoilers for Collision, because again, we're in that weird situation, aren't we, where. And it was weird with Triller. I mentioned it on the live yesterday that I know you don't watch live, but Triller didn't show Dynamite until 3 a.m. rather than the usual 1 a.m. UK time live with America. So that's weird. And then the other weirdness is that Collision gets taped and then doesn't officially air over here, at least as far as regular TV goes, until after Forbidden Door is come and gone. So yeah, maybe that explains why the Collision card that the people sat through for a very long show, near 5 hours from ROH to the end of Collision. There, Platt says here, it is just a slew of matches. So we got Hiromu and Skyflight, which is apparently a thing, versus the Don Callis family. Megan Bain versus Isla Dawn. They got Queen Aminata and Willow Nightingale versus the Triangle of Madness. Zack Sabre Jr. was, I guess that's a minor spoiler, sorry, Max Caster's opponent, which I think I'd enjoy. It sounds like Max Caster was over in the building. Again, another minor spoiler. Maybe skip along a few seconds if you don't want to hear it. Takanosuke Takeshita turned up and worked Ishii. Still no sign on what he's actually doing at Forbidden Door. The winner of the G1, but apparently the Ishii match was fantastic, and I think a lot of people called that the match of the night. NXT UK's Mark Andrews, possible friend of the show, worked Big Bill. That's interesting. I'm guessing Bill was over. Speaking of NXT UK, Grizzly Young Veterans, where Gates, fucking hell, there's a lot of matches there, where Gates of Agony. And my favourite part of the night, again, very, very minor spoiler. And this was it past 11 o'clock, apparently? Paragon of Kyle O'Reilly, Roderick Strong, took on the Young Bucks, who got announced as Rod and Todd, which, have you had a word, JP? That's fucking brilliant stuff.
Glorious.
That was what happened. But that's a lot of matches. That's a fucking... I guess that's what Collision should be on these weekends, because, by the time Saturday comes, it is what it is. But, 8 sudden matches, Simon says. Jesus. A Paragon main event. Jesus Christ.
And how many of these matches, they shouldn't be going long. They should be literally 5 to 8 minute affairs. The amount of people they've brought over for this. You think, do you need to have all of these people here, given how stacked the original card is? Means that 0 hour, which at time of recording, I don't know any of the matches for that.
Let us know in the chat if anything's been announced. I don't think
the only one it seems to be is it might be War Dogs versus the Ops for the Trios title in the pre-show.
That seems natural. And there should be more matches like that. That's what the show is missing.
Triangle of Madness versus Amanita, Willow Nightingale, and probably like an Isla Dawn. They'll just
Aminata, JP. Come on.
Aminata, sorry, my bad. Sorry, she's my Tekla, isn't it? Just getting her name wrong all the time.
I think she's also my Tekla. They're both my Tekla. But there you go. Well, there you go. That's Collision, and obviously, slew of matches for you to watch. But we should expect a lot more. And Simon said that they just kept coming up for more. You just look at it and watch. It is Tony Khan. Somebody said there. Tony Khan should only be allowed to run buildings that have a curfew. Andy said. Totally agree. Oh, Connor's found 5G on the Northern. I can never use that. I never remember to sign up to it until more of the on it. But that's good stuff. There we go. And Walter Hauser versus QT Marshall. Maybe that'll get added at some point. Who knows? Paul Walter Hauser is in the country, which we'll get into in a while. But before we get there, we do need to do the rundown of the card and some predictions. We talked most of the stories already, JP. But we'll give a couple of extra thoughts if need be.
And some betting odds.
Betting odds too. There we go. Got the full gambit here. As you say, we don't know anything about 0 hour coming from the O2, your old haunt, JP, right behind you there. But very jealous. Looks a great seat you've got there. Been there twice, like say Money in the Bank, and the other one was like a WWE house show I went to with Steph, where she was there as media, and I was there +1, and we just drank all the free booze all night. It was great, really good night. But it didn't change any of my takes. I still think the cunts.
That's where you met Cody Rhodes, wasn't it?
No, that was a different one. That was a Manchester house show, Trent Seven was knocking about on that one, didn't speak to. Oh, he didn't. But he was enjoying the free booze as well. Great night. Anyway, onto the show itself. We have, on the main show, Adam Copeland and Christian Cage versus, we call them the matriarchy. I guess we call them the matriarchy. The matriarchy of Kill Switch and Kip Sabian with Mother Wayne, as we talked about before. Any what's the betting odds, JP? Or what's your take on that one? Cope and Christian over. Make it short. That's probably my hope for that one.
That's my biggest hope, is that this is no more than 5 minutes, which sadly the entrance for Cope will take as longer than what the match should be. Looking at it in terms of betting odds, Cope and Cage are 6-1 on, 1-6. The matriarchy are 7-2. Not as I would have thought this is a foregone conclusion, giving it should be 20-1 on for them, but they should win it. You've got the bloke you can pin in there in Kip Sabian. You're also protecting Nick Wayne, which if this injury is probably slightly fortuitous in that way. And you have Luchasaurus do a couple of sort of double choke slam type spots and stuff like that. And then have some spot with Christian Cage and Mother Wayne that happens in there as well. But it should be the only hope for this, given the amount of stuff that's on this card, is, and they've got a curfew to go to, 10:30, which they need to fucking stick to as well. Then, like, you've just got to have them win and win fucking quickly.
Agreed. And yeah, I will use that as my piss break match. Maybe I'll go to the local Domino's.
Absolutely.
What's going on? Yeah. ANC TNT title match. We have Carl Fletcher versus Hiromu Takahashi. Obviously, like I said, Tony Khan watches only 5-year-old New Japan, and exclusively 5-year-old New Japan. So I do think there are more current stars that would fit this role more. Plus, Carl's not a junior either, so again, there's not that. That just feels weird because it's just not a match I don't think New Japan would even book themselves at this point. And Hiromu didn't feel that over when he turned up on Dynamite last week. So yeah, I think the match will be good, but I think I brought it up a million times. But I feel like you could. A couple of those obvious names from New Japan could have, Yota Tsuji could have done you a job here. It's Carl Fletcher. Maybe that's the problem. He couldn't done you a literal job, and Hiromu can. But yeah, it's a New Japan versus AEW match. There's a positive.
Yeah, I mean, you got Yu Yamura over as well.
Oh, there you go. That's a better pick.
Rev Pro.
Much better.
That would have been a better pick for me, or an Oiwa. Someone
in 2025
showcase. Yeah, exactly for this. I mean, betting odds wise, Fletcher's 9-1 on. This is all through Sky Bet, by the way. Hiromu's 4-1. He's winning. They'll give it 10 minutes because they have to. Hiromu can't complain he's knackered because outside of working a couple of matches for Noah, he's not been around for like the G1.
Barely booked him, yeah.
Well, they really don't. And I think the problem is it's like he is.
And they're wrong too. I'm not slagging Hiromu off. It's where Hiromu is in the world. 5 years on from when we believe he should have, had a real push.
And it does feel like, for me, that the gimmick and the character himself is kind of stale. It's the same thing that we've seen now for the last 5 years. So it's well, even for longer, it's what you kind of expect it to be. I expect it to be a good match, if not great. It'd be a real, if Fletcher can get a really good match out of him, just have it as a sprint. That's all this needs to be, like a 10-minute long sprint, and it'd be a lot of fun. But yeah, Fletcher's winning.
Sherry, would you like to... The good news or the better news?
Go on.
The good news is...
I'm scared.
Actually, I'm not going to mention it. This one, Chris Jericho returning to WWE when his AEW contract comes up, with several in WWE, including active wrestlers, wanting to return this via WrestleVotes Radio. A source expects the WWE deal to be completed for him when his AEW contract finishes. Get it, Tony. There's a win. We'll take that. The other one, I shouldn't make light of it, is that apparently Terry's death might have been a result of medical malpractice. TMZ just reported. I don't know what's behind that.
Okay.
I feel like the Wacko Jacko doctor story, doesn't it?
It also feels for that one on there that the tabloid aspect is something to be slightly wary of in terms of first bits of information.
Yeah.
It's like I'd want to know, like, the kind of, because it's TMZ.
Law enforcement with sources tell TMZ sources an occupational therapist was present. I don't know. Yeah, you're right. We should wait for proper reporting, shouldn't we? Sorry.
No. It's all right.
Anyway,
it's a story. It's just it's very hard to reach conclusion on it. Jericho going brilliant. Absolutely.
Feels harsh,
brilliant.
Simon saying good fucking riddance, but he's talking about Jericho. Okay.
Won't be missed. Won't be missed. Like, and how much money do you save yourself as well? Just as a cost basis. Like, this is a guy who'd be on $1 million+ a year. For what? Like, if he, like, it's not like he's some, like, genius booker behind the scenes as well. Let him go to WWE. He will not be missed. It's the kind of guy that you want to go over there and just go, go do your nostalgia stuff away from me. Serve this purpose. He got them, helped them at the beginning, and helped them with getting the TV deal, and that was it.
Agreed. Well, there we go. There's a bit of positive news. Also, and I guess obviously Carl Fletcher goes over. I don't think the match will be as good as it is in Tony Khan's mind from 2020. Mercedes Moné versus Alexis Winder versus Help JP.
Persephone.
Thank you. And Bozilla. I get that one wrong every time it comes up.
Yeah.
Mercedes goes over. Alex Winter probably be over in the arena. Bozilla got announced on commentary, so that's how much they put into that Stardom relationship. But there you go, that's a thing.
Well, it's made slightly complicated by the fact that, as we'll talk about in the other previews, they got the 5-star Grand Prix final this weekend. But then when you book the event, you know that that's going on. So if you're doing that in there as well at the same time, odds wise, this seemed as much of a foreconclusion as you would expect. Mercedes Moné is 25-1 on. Alex wins a 9-1. Persephone 9-1. It doesn't even have odds for Bazilla at that point, but it won't be shorter than 9-1 either.
No,
so
and it purely just exists to dot those I's, cross those T's. It fits the the show. That's fine. AEW World Tag Team Title 3-way match again. I think it's fine. Hate Syndicate. It'll be a better match now versus FTR versus Bro Dido. Yeah, I haven't really thought of a prediction on this one. I still assume Hate Syndicate never lose these belts, but maybe it exists so Bro Dido can pin FTR or FTR can pin Bro Dido. To your point earlier.
I think so. There's no odds for this, and it's probably because of the inclusion of Bro Dido that they're having to sort of rethink how they're going to go with it. For me, this is FTR pins one of Bro Dido with like Stokely Hathaway holding down the leg as it's underneath the rope, that kind of deal. Hurt Syndicate, you get them into a babyface feud with FTR. I think this is also where MJF will do the stuff potentially with FTR, which I've been predicting for a little while because it ties in because of the lore around MJF. Bro Dido will do enough flashy stuff, and they've got enough likability between them. I really like Brody King, and I've never always said that. Like when he was Ring of Honor champion, I was kind of indifferent to him. He was like, well, he's just the bloke that they should go with. He's in the room. But yeah, FTR to win this one. Like as soon as those odds come up, if they're halfway decent, I'll be going with that. And then they'll play into the idea of Hurt Syndicate, like not being pinned and stuff.
Oh, it's elimination. Sorry, Connor points out. I didn't realise that.
Okay.
Connor, by the way, is on the Lizzie line now. Keep the updates coming. Great line.
Cracking line on that. Plenty of legs.
Number one in 5-1, 100%.
Yep.
If it counts.
It's lovely. Absolutely gorgeous, that thing. You can eat your dinner off the floor. Well, I won't go that far, but yeah, I'll still go with FTR even through. Okay, I'll go with
Syndicate. I'll stick with it. I people are saying FTR to get to Cope and Christian. I think that won't have the belts, but maybe I'm wrong. AEW Unified / Continental / International title match: Kazuchika Okada versus Swerve Strickland. He's got 2 questions on this one. Will it be good? Who's going to win? I just something about this. It's been gentleman's 3. The build to this. It's been professional. It's been fine. It's been built well enough. I can't say it's been built badly. I just feel like there's just been something off. Even the video packages this week, I was like, I just don't really believe this is a feud. It feels like a placeholder for both of them. A very professional placeholder, and also as a match we've seen before. I don't know if necessarily the in-ring chemistry is going to be there, but it's a big show. Swerve's going to be up for it. Okada hopefully will know that it's a big show and be up for it as well. Maybe they'll overreach the ceiling I've kind of got for it in my head. What say you?
I think this is it's going to be very professional, and it is a placeholder, and I don't have the highest amount of expectation for this. I'm not coming in buzzing about this match. I want to be pleasantly surprised. I think it's just as long as they avoid the idea that this needs to go long, it feels like really what this should be is almost like a number 1 contenders match for who takes on Adam Page. Like that feels like really where they should be in, but instead one of them's got the unified title, and after Okada beating Kenny, I can't see him losing it. Now, odds wise, very close. Like Okada is 7-4 on, so you get some return on that if you're willing to lay enough down, and Swerve is 6-5 6-5, so near enough kind of like even money. I just don't see them taking the unified title off Okada because it feels like that's
I don't know why you do it.
Kenny. Or Takeshita.
Yeah, I see that too. And do you buy? Somebody put in our YouTube comments like, why is Okada in this spot on the show? Why I get that the show is. I think I agree with the broad Gareth point that Forbidden Door's broken, New Japan's broken. You want AEW versus AEW matches on top. I would push back and say there needs to be more AEW versus New Japan on the undercard. But like the Zach match we're about to get to, I think this is a layup. Surely you do Okada versus one of his old foes, and like do that different spin on it. Like as part of me, I said it to Karen. Part of me is like, okay, maybe they're waiting for that, and they're going to do that when it's a bit more, removed in time, in a year, in 2 years. I'm not sure now. I just think there's something there that means politically or whatever, Okada's just no interest in working ex-New Japan guys, or no interest in going back for like a Wrestle Dream type show. Somebody said on the YouTube, like, is it like insurance wise or something, or work permit wise is why he doesn't go to Japan? No, I think he just doesn't want him. That's the answer.
It's like Nakamura. Nakamura doesn't seem like he has to, unless he's being told by the company he absolutely has to go over. it's a very it's very. See, this is the problem I think with this unified title at points is it puts Okada in just the ultimate comfort zone. He's a champion. It's the second most prestigious belt in the company in theory, but it's still not as prestigious and doesn't have any really fascinating storylines around it. The match you would have done, if you could do, and I get why because of the physical constraints, is you do Okada Tanahashi as just a nostalgia match to kind of put back in there, and then there's a story you can tell in terms of like it might be the last time that those two guys sort of like face each other again. That would be the only other direction you can go into, because
some of these platters there, yeah, Okada and the Bucks beat Tanner and a team or something. Maybe that was on the table at some point, and that's how we ended up with the wacky main event.
Joe had said you do Okada and Takeshita versus the Golden Lovers. That would have been the one, like the kind of match to do there, because there's several stories you can tell at the same time with this. Plus, there's enough of the like obvious
There's no New Japan guy there, but there's a lot of New Japan lore. Well, I guess there is technically with Takeshita, but
with Takeshita in there as well, who's the one guy who kind of really isn't. He's the least New Japan guy out of all of them. So
interesting.
A lot of DDT lore in there as well. Yeah, but instead, like I think my main hope is that it isn't overlong and plodding, and I fear that could end up being the case.
Well, we would never make a podcast over long and plodding, so we should move on. Tony Storm versus Athena. Any thoughts on that one? Tony Storm goes over. I'm into this Athena Power Rangers villain character she's been doing. It's kind of put me off it a bit, but I know the match will be good, so at least we'll have that. And Tony will be massively over.
I think that's it. I think that it'll be a good match. I'd have high hopes for it to be a match. Now, odds-wise, Tony Storm is odds-on favourite. She's 6-1 on. And Athena is 7-2, and it does make sense. Like you wouldn't have a lose to Athena necessarily, although I wouldn't be against it in some ways as just like a direction change. It'd be like a left field booking decision, but it wouldn't be the worst one in the world to go with. I've not been as down on Athena as what you have. Like in the main, I think I'm just so predisposed to kind of generally like her that I'm kind of like in the main fine with it. But I think I wonder whether or not like this is going to be like, because there's Death Before Dishonor like next week as well.
Yeah.
Where she's defending the title there. And it feels like, oh, okay. Like, I mean, in many ways she needs to lose that title there in order to get over to here, but I don't even think that'll be the case. I think Tony Storm will win. Yeah. Like ultimately that's the decision that makes sense to kind of keep things going. And she's a big crowd favorite. So.
Agreed. From WrestlePurity, I don't know whether the quote, I can only see the notification. Swerve Strickland apparently is working with a torn meniscus, so temper your expectations on that card match. Apparently he's had it for a while though. He just requires surgery at some point, so we'll see. Fightful Select, that's come via. Next match, IWGP World Heavyweight Title match. I will not repeat myself on another podcast. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Nigel McGuinness. JP. Because I don't want to repeat myself. It'll be fun on the night. I bet it will.
Yeah.
Hopefully, Joe might cry some tears like I would if I was there, you know. Maybe Garcia turns on Nigel. That could be interesting. There's a little side. I could see Garcia as like Zack Sabre Jr. as like young boy. I think that'd be a good combination.
I think a Garcia going over to New Japan for a bit would be a lovely shot in the arm. I think in terms of like bringing someone in like that would be a direction I wouldn't be entirely averse to then going into as well. Yeah. I think he'd learn a hell of a lot. I think there's spots there that he could easily sort of take up. I think this, again, it comes down to brevity. 10-minute chain wrestling type match, so it's not overlong and boring as that style can end up being. Zack wins, obviously. Although, odds-wise, this is the thing that's bewildered me. Zack is like 10-3 on, which isn't crazy. Nigel's 11-5. Like, they're not putting the IWGP title on Nigel fucking McGuinness. Like, I love Nigel McGuinness. They're not doing it. These odds are short. If you were going to bet heavy on an overwhelming favourite, Jesus Christ, you just would. If like, I'm not saying put £1,000 on Zack Sabre Jr. because things can happen, but I can't see a world where he is losing this. A 10-minute chain wrestling match, Garcia maybe turns heel at the end of it. Like that would be as far as I would like. That would be the only.
Yeah, I'm going to temper the expectations because again, my negative on this is very well known. Positive is it feels like a dream match. It feels like, a match that you would imagine could possibly one day take place, and here it is taking place. But also, I wouldn't want to get my imagination go too wild because we saw them interact. Obviously, when Nigel turned up at Wembley, and it wasn't the smoothest. Nigel's had more ring time since then, but and the Bryan match was very good, but it won't be any better than that. That'll be about the level. That's about as good as it could be. Yeah. So, that's fine. But yeah, it's a fun little quirky match. I wonder if they had this, maybe to the point that I keep raising, and I'm trying not to raise, maybe they planned this before Zach won the belt, and then Zach had the belt, and it's like, oh shit, what do we do now? But wish it was there.
The belt in many ways is kind of almost like the least important aspect of it. And
it is, yeah.
And the result shouldn't be in doubt. If you're wanting to keep New Japan happy in some small ways, obviously their champion should win. It's just it's a match that's done for a home crowd, and that's all. That's nothing wrong with that. It's the kind of stuff you do when you go over to the UK, and so doing this
captive audience at the O2 are going to fucking love it, aren't they? And they're going to be way into it. So there we go. AEW World Heavyweight Title. We're getting to the big guns. JP, Hangman Adam Page versus MJF. I do think shenanigans. I do think they've made it clear that we're going to have something daft with the stupid contract. And I think, MJF loses. And then it's a matter of whether he cashes in immediately or Mark Briscoe gets involved and stops him cashing in or costs him cashing in. I think we get shenanigans before the lights out cage match. That is my guess. I think the match will probably be strong, but I think the shenanigans will probably what we'll all be waiting for.
It is the shenanigans we're waiting for. Now, there's no betting odds on this, which, again, I imagine is a result of Dynamite. That have had to sort of put things away.
Yeah, true, because you can win by DQ or count out now.
Yeah. I really, really hope they don't put the belt on MJF. I enjoyed this. I was enjoying this as a feud to go to until this week's Dynamite, which has left a bit of a sick taste in my mouth. I won't lie, because of all of the bollocks. Now, I expected there to be a certain degree of bollocks, and I'd be more than happy to see Mark Briscoe come out and ultimately cost MJF. And if Ricochet comes out with the GOA and stuff like that, you'll have Mark Briscoe and, I don't know, like the Ops or whoever decide to come out in the meantime just to sort of help back up Adam Page. It's adding on a load of sort of shenanigans where it doesn't really need a lot of these kind of shenanigans. They shouldn't be the thing that's in there. Hangman Page should be winning. That much I'm absolutely crystal clear on. It feels like it's far too soon to kind of take this away. I've loved how he carries himself. Honestly, since he's won the title, I've been so happy with the presentation of him.
And he needs to face someone first, and he needs to beat them. And that's what this is, isn't it? It's not a B defense. It's a B+ defense, I think, or an A- defense. Just a big star, but I think it should only, and probably will only go one way.
Yeah, exactly. It's just that I think the only other thing you're thinking, what storyline stuff could also happen on here, is there a chance of Hurt Syndicate being involved and being involved in a way where they turn face? That type of stuff could come into the
something
mix.
Like that's been forgotten now, isn't it? It's like, I don't think that's a thing anymore, or is it a thing? I don't know.
It's just going to be a weird storyline. We talk about it's like MJF joined him and then they got rid of him one week and then that was the end of it. It's just are they ever going to do something for that as well? I've got to go Hangman Page. I'll be sorely disappointed if they put it on MJF.
And then we go to the main event. Lights out steel cage. Darby Allin, Kenny Omega, Kota Ibushi, Hiroshi Tanahashi, and William Ospreay versus Claudio Castagnoli, Jon Moxley, Gabriel Kidd, and Rod and Todd, the Young Bucks, in a lights out steel cage. I think it'll be wacky. I think it'll be fun. I reckon everyone in the building's going to have a better time with it than I will at home, and that's my fault for not being there. I'm not massively excited for this. It's a match graphic, but I bet you it'll be a whale of a time live. That's probably my guess. Does it matter who even wins? I don't know. Maybe Moxley will get some of his heat back. Saying that, you want the baby faces celebrating at the end, don't you?
Yeah.
I think the interesting thing for me is how they make this different from a Blood and Guts and different from an Anarchy in the Arena and a Stadium Stampede. It's going to be that type of match, isn't it? But where on that scale is it from the wacky end to the more, bloody end? I think you're going to get elements of both. It's going to be a big party match, isn't it? I think everyone there is going to have a fucking grand old time watching it. I'm sure the wrestlers in there will too.
That's it. You hit the nail on that. It's a party match, and I'm fine with that. It'll be bloody. There'll be loads of shortcuts. There'll be stuff going on outside the cage as well. It just won't be all over the arena because then it falls into anarchy in the arena stuff. The big things I'm thinking on there is, does Ospreay do some mad dive off the top of the cage? Probably. Should he be doing it? Absolutely not. You're not going to see Darby will. You're not going to see Tanahashi do anything off the top of the cage for a high fly flow. Yeah, that is not going to happen. That would be crazy. But I'm fully expecting to enjoy this as a live experience of just a sort of like bullshit matchup, because we're right up in the gods. We should have a good view of all of the stuff that's there. You've got Claudio who can take the pin, or one of the Bucks. I think that's absolutely fine. I mean, it's just how you're having to cover for people in there as well, which is where you'll get all of the cage shenanigans and stuff that happen that are like kind of into the mix as well. It's just the build for it, like you say, it's been a match graphic, because we've not had Kenny and Kota Ibushi make any kind of references for this at all. Kenny's
been called in off a sick leave, hasn't he? I'm doing what?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. I'll turn up to London on the day. I'll turn up, fine. Yeah, I thought they might be like Connor says here, New Japan cage style, but I don't think so. I mean, how would they get that here? That's the other problem, innit? It's going to be whatever they can fucking get, whatever they can build in this short amount of time. They've come up with the idea for the match. Maybe they'll build one. I don't know.
I think they kind of should do, but the problem is they're probably selling more floor seats because of the ticket sales. Because of those ticket sales, which I should check, by the way, in terms of how that is going at the moment. Last count on here, it was, as you've got wrestling.
Well, while JP looks, I was going to ask this question: What's everyone's excitement level out of 10? Give me a number. Spam the chat. Give me a number. I see the Twitch streamers do this. What are we out of 10? What are you out of 10 on it, JP? What's your excitement level? You're a nice 8. I think I'm about a 7. Maybe a 6.
I'm an 8
because I'm not going.
Yeah.
If I was going, I'd be 7.
I'm an 8 because I'm going to be there, and there's enough there that's going to be interesting for me. And I think I'm just going to enjoy it as a live experience. I don't get to go to as much wrestling these days live. So getting to go to the O2 and go to a big show has like a great degree of novelty. Meeting up with a load of mates and having a few drinks before the show, like that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm going to miss, using seeing everyone and all the different friend groups kind of coming together, and like our audience stuff coming together. A lot of 8s in the chat. Andy, Connor going 8. Simon going 8. Plot went 7. Yeah. 8 or a 9 from Chris Kendall. There you go. It's the big UK show of the year, isn't it? I totally get that. I do.
That's it. It's our big pay.
I think Garrett's 10. I don't know what Matty is. Maybe Matty is like a 7.
5, isn't he, for this? It's no money
He's
in
more
the bank.
excited for the Fed House show, isn't he, on Saturday night?
He'll be, I tell you what, he'll be struggling to hear people ordering pints, because so far, in terms of the setup, is 17,392. To give you an idea, the total amount of seats on the map is 17,552. They've sold 17,159. So we will have a sellout on the day of the show. Looking at the configuration, it looks like you could push some of those. You could add a few extra rows of seats onto the floor for it. I think we're going to get a smaller entrance way and things like that as well. I don't think we're going to get like the massive, like sort of like big LED screen experience. I think they'll just be using the one above the ring as being the one where people are going to be able to see sort of some of the video there as well. So I'm expecting this.
When's this update? Is this today?
This was August 20th, so it was yesterday for this. And it's done since the update before then. It did 537 tickets. Obviously, it's massively reduced. Apparently, the cheapest ticket available is still $31.75, but dynamic pricing is a bitch.
It's fucking horrible. Can't believe that's a thing that's legal. That should be taken away soon.
Incredible.
So yeah, like you say, current setup 7392. So they're gonna clear that. Yeah, obviously, like we've been talking about it for a while, like because they made more seats for the O2, and I was there, and it felt like there were a lot of people there, like maybe fell for the WWE propaganda there. What was the actual WWE number? Meltzer was saying this week it was 17,617. I think is the shoot number. We're close to that, aren't we?
They'll break that. I think they'll easily break that.
If they open up more seats, they'd have to open up more seats to do that. If that's real, I'm still not sure what the actual real number is.
Well, that's the problem, is you're dealing with one company that directly lies about the ticket numbers they sell. Lies about a lot of stuff, but that's one of the things they lie about. I just can't, like, they've only got 300 odd tickets, 233 according to WrestleTix here. I wouldn't be surprised if they're gone already. And then we get an update in the next day or so saying it's kind of sold out, but they've opened up some seats just to get it past that WWE, the real WWE number. And then maybe
WrestleTix said 17,617 as well. I've just triple checked. That is the right number,
yeah.
None of this 19,000 nonsense. Lies.
We move away from Brent Council, and it's Greenwich Council who you guys need to hassle this time around. So make sure you're doing that.
Get involved. Be branded person to the cause. But there we go. Like I say, everyone seems excited about it. Big weekend. Like I say, wish I was there. And again, I imagine come All In weekend, I'll be there, and there'll be some kind of grapple shenanigans. But I know there's unofficial stuff going on as well. So hope everybody has a cracking time. But that's not the only thing going on this weekend. Obviously, the other big shows of the weekend, Rev Pro. We need to get into obviously the 2 days, and as was maybe said on the 2 hours in the middle of our podcast with Andy Quilden, where he addressed all his enemies, which felt like he was just shooting at our Discord. If I'm honest, I don't think he was. It was just people with similar takes. I think it obviously has come out in the watch that there was more up their sleeve as far as the show goes, and I do think. Again, I said that at the end of the show. I said to Quilden, I was like, we are biased. Like, we are. I want them to do well. I do genuinely, and I don't want Progress to do well. There you go. Said that out in public. Don't care. Hate the cunts. Fuck them. But, like, with that said, I think you've got to be honest, and, so criticism is always valid, and there's always a place for that. It's how we, a lot of us consume our media, whether it be films, sports, wrestling. Criticism, I think, can absolutely be valid, but I think part of the criticism that I think he didn't like was the stuff about announcing the matches, and he didn't say it on the interview, and I'm not putting words in his mouth, but you have to believe a lot of these late announcements were results of maybe certain partners not replying or not, getting back and confirming some of the names that were announced as well. And I get why people get on Rev Pro's back, because it does happen on smaller shows too, and there is a pattern there. And this is a gigantic show, and people want to be excited, and people wanted to buy the tickets. So, yeah, both things can be true, I think I can say. But I think the announcements this week have made this a bigger show, and turned a lot of people, it seems like, in our Discord and in Twitter, and none of those other spaces that I think Andy was looking that he probably shouldn't around.
Yeah, I think they've, like, ultimately, the place they've gotten to, if you're looking at this card and there's people who are like kind of like at a loose end, and if you're staying in South London, it seems well worth going to these shows. And I think that's part of the problem is it's just like, who are we able to use in order to bump up some of these shows and have facing our guys? And you're really restricted and limited by that. But so what we've got is we've got 2 days from the Crystal Palace National Sports Centre, our old stomping ground. We've been there before, a giant swimming pool. Effectively, we've got Jushin Thunder Day 1 Global Wars, Jushin Thunder Liger entering the Rev Pro Hall of Fame, Blue Panther versus Chris Ridgway, if he's there. 10-man, you'll turn up for that, don't worry. 10-man tag team match of Hiroshi
Blue Panther. He's got a mask made. Of course, he'll turn up.
Oh yeah, it's cracking mask as well. It looks really good.
Rev Pro logo on it.
Yeah, he did a belting job with that. 10-man tag team match. This is a hell of a lineup. This Hiroshi Tanahashi, Katsuyori Shibata, Michael Oku, Mike Bailey, and Zazoya versus the Cowboy Way, one called Manders and Thomas Shire, Hechicero, Kyle Fletcher, and Robbie X. Alexis Falcon versus Persephone in what is no doubt the biggest match of her career. Yu Yamura versus Connor Mills. Should be an interesting match. This one, low-key banger for this. I'm really looking forward to this one. Tomohiro Ishii versus Jay Joshua. Then we've got
Matty.
For the that's a Matty match. That well, he's in
it. Is Matty in it?
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Rev Pro Undisputed Women's Title and Discovery Wrestling Women's Title match. Mercedes Moné versus Emerson James. So she's collecting another. She's not just picking up only a monster match. She's picking up another belt this weekend. So that's going on. Francesco Akira versus Leon Slater. I think that could be really good. And for the undisputed British tag team titles, we've got the Young Guns, Ethan Allen and Luke Jacobs versus the Grizzly Young Veterans. So that's day 1. I'll go
really good card. Let's go with day 1. I think it's a really good card. feels, as people have been saying about this weekend for Rev Pro, feels more Forbidden Door than Forbidden Door. They've got a similar wacky multi-person tag, but it's even wackier, isn't it? They've literally gone with the wild card name on it because it feels like the wild card match from Survivor Series 95. But with the disparate characters from disparate companies, like it's a big get that they've gotten. You know, Carl Fletcher on there. It's a big get that Shibata's on there. Obviously, and Tanahashi again, who's got a fucking busy weekend coming up. That feels like a big match. I'm sure they'll do a lot less than they'll do when it comes to AEW at the weekend. But that's cool. Like he did outright say that we should expect Mercedes on the weekend, and Mercedes is there against Emerson Jane. Like that makes sense. And obviously, you know, we have the multi-person tag as well. We can get into as well. Young Guns, Grizzled Young Veterans feels like that's the biggest match you can do in that tag division. Francesco Akira and Leon Slater. Yeah, Yui Uemura, Connor Mills. That feels like a Rev Pro version of Forbidden Door, doesn't it? But people at about that appropriate level. Ishii J. Joshua, same thing. I like the card. Blue Panther, Chris Ridgway. I'm not so into Chris Ridgway, but you get to see Blue Panther live. I'm sure that's something that's probably sold some tickets. And you get to see Liger in a swimmer mat in Crystal Palace, you know? That was just, I didn't shit out it was written on my questions. It's a bit shit Crystal Palace in it, Andy. I couldn't find a way to word it nicely. Because I know, you know what he'd say, obviously, you know, well, that's the size of arena we can run, and that's, you know, what's available, and that's, you know, what makes sense business-wise, and blah, 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 and sell us on all the positives because he's a fucking hell of a salesman. But I think this card would get me back there. I think so, yeah. In fact, I know so. If I was in London, I can't imagine why wouldn't I go to this? I'm sure I'd go.
If there was logistics and I was able to go, which then these would have been cards I definitely would have gone to. And I'm looking at these cards going, they look like a hell of a lot of fun. Like they really do for what they've done. Because, I mean, like I said, day 2 feels much more Rev Pro. This one, that day 1, though, the idea of just chaining it into Global Wars, i.e.
That was really smart.
Forbidden Door Junior, that's a really canny ploy.
And you can kind of bite on it, but the reason we had written down the question about ROH was, like, it was like, well, you could also add AEW to the logo in, and we've ended up with AEW guys on the show. So, but again, maybe that speaks to, you know, the delay in getting some of those names confirmed, because that would sell. Maybe they wouldn't have gone for it to have AEW on the marquee, but you could probably put AEW on the marquee, honestly, with Mercedes and Kyle on there. Yeah,
absolutely.
And Shibata.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of fun to have in that. I look forward to watching that on the VOD. I really do. I'm really looking forward to seeing that. 'Cause I think
I'll be watching that live on Friday.
Day 2 on the Saturday, same venue, obviously. They've got
Eve?
CPS. Sorry, go on.
No, not Eve. No, have Eve not got a show there on Saturday?
We have. We'll go.
Not at Crystal Palace.
Oh no, not
God!
Can open worms everywhere with that one on there as well.
That was one of the quotes that got out there, wasn't it? Fightful writing that up. Thanks, guys.
Hey, love that. A little bit of clickbait. I don't mind. Like, Eve will be fine. They should be fine. If they're moaning about this show in particular, it's just like, get your fucking priorities right, guys. We've got CPF and Blue Panther. He's there again versus Caven, True and Lacey, and Hechicero. We've got for the Great British Tag League final, Connor Mills and Jay Joshua versus Cowboy Way, One Call Manders and Thomas Shire. Yui Uemura versus JJ Gale.
Nice.
Danny Luna, Kanji, and Mercedes Moné versus the Cutthroat Collective of Alex Windsor, Nina Samuels, and Sapphire Reed.
I actually thought they were the other way around. I thought that was day 1 and the singles was day 2.
No. Singles day 1. Bit of a night off.
Weird.
Build a bit of heat up for the match on the Sunday. That feels like the direction.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, actually, that makes sense. Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. Michael Oku versus Leon Slater, which I think could be fucking brilliant. It could end up being one of the best matches this week.
Those sit downs have been great. Like, Andy wasn't lying when he was talking about it. Like, it's been really well built.
God, those sit downs they do on their YouTube channel are really good. Just that little bit of effort going into it, really good. Zack Sabre Jr. versus Zazoya. And then for the undisputed British Cruiserweight title match, Nino Bryant defending against Robbie X, fulfilling his familiar Rev Pro role, potentially, of lying down staring at the lights. And then for the undisputed British heavyweight title, we've got Ricky Knight Jr., who is going to be off to Japan for the Noah's N1 victory, which is interesting. Like, not the partnership I could foresee coming, but there you go. Up against Sean Samuels, who has pretty much said he's going to be retiring if he doesn't win this match. So, Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go.
I mean, I'm presuming I'm going to see Charles Samuels somewhere around the parts of the world I am at some point, but we'll see. But I think, yeah, that's a given. But also, is he not going to be? It feels a given anyway. But are they going to be able to sell you on it in the night? That's the story here, isn't it? And that's like that Joe was saying. That's the thing he's very invested in. He loves a bit of Shah, and he wants to believe, he wants to be sold on it, and they've been doing a job of that too. Obviously, Shah talking it up, you know. Yeah, Platt says Shaw wins. Yeah, maybe that's the lesson. Actually, maybe I'm being too dismissive there with the RKJ to Noah stuff. Maybe.
Yeah, we've seen a few of these before, and it wouldn't surprise. Like it feels like classic bait and switch. I mean, there was what was it? I know it's a silly example, but in TNA they did Mickey James versus Jordan Grace, and everyone assumed that Mickey James just retiring and losing, and then she won.
Yeah,
and it was something that was like, oh, really took people by surprise. You could, for me, you could have Shah Samuels win, Ricky Knight Jr. can then go over to Japan, and then have Michael Oku beat Shah Samuels in order to retire him. Because it's felt like Shah Samuels is retiring because there's coaching roles and things like that that almost feels like he's kind of being set up for it. He's had a hell of a run in wrestling, so it's almost like I think you can get away with it with Shah Samuels. So I actually think Shah winning is a good shout. Unfortunately, there is no odds for this on Sky Bet at all, which is a disgrace.
That's a shame.
In there, but
you can know someone else do it. Paddy Power. You know,
no, Paddy Power. No, hasn't got none of it on that. God, if we could bet on British wrestling, how more corrupt could things get at that point? People would just take fucking dives, wouldn't they? And you'd have shoot pinfalls all over the place just to win a few quid.
Big weekend for some of those guys though, JJ Gale in there with Yamura. I think the two picks of the weekend, like right there, Mike Loco and Leon Slater and Zack Sabre Jr. Zoya, like they both sound fucking great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to watching those on the. Do you know what time it starts on the Saturday?
It's early evening. I want to say it's like 5 o'clock start. I think it ends by 9 or something like that. So it's not going too long on this.
I'll be up for that. I'm going to watch it live on Saturday night. Definitely get the whole weekend in.
Well, it clashes a little bit with Arsenal Leeds, so that's the evening kickoff on the Saturday. So I'll end up watching.
Dominic Calvert-Lewin breaking his leg. Yeah, it's going to be a rough match. That
can't even pick that fucker in the draft. Sorry, it's a complete aside.
You can't get him, can you? It's weird. No. It's still not there. It's weird that we're all fighting for him. 4:30 on the Saturday show. Yeah, I'll end up watching it live and part of the overall weekend shenanigans. I'm looking forward to it. There we go. Yeah. So yeah, that's going on the Saturday and the Friday and the Saturday. You're watching both of those live. Progress are also running on the Monday as we get into other cards that are taking place this weekend. I'm losing my voice, so they don't get so much of my time. Lana Austin versus Alexis Falcon, Charlie Sterling versus Owada-san. Ricky Knight Jr. versus Karen Noir, Wycus Jim versus Sunshine Machine, Rio versus Kanji, Paul Waterhauser versus Simon Miller versus Charles Crowley versus not Benno Bullet, whose Twitter name is still Bullet Benno. Do you reckon he's caught any strays? Do you reckon anyone's given him?
I think so. I'm hoping so.
Yeah. Were you one of the Rez's dead lot? I wonder if somebody asked him that. Mike D. Vecchio versus Gene Money versus Will Cruz. Luke Jacobs versus Man Like DeReese is on the show. A few wrestlers I like that.
Yeah, it's interesting that they've moved to the Monday. And this is something, again, we were speaking about with Andy.
Yeah.
It's a wiser move. If people are around, it's a bank holiday. Rather
that year
than
they had all the
compete.
AEW talent and they got fucked by the Cockbox show, like just showed you where they are in the world, you know.
Not as important on there. So doing it on there, but yeah, I don't know. I won't watch it. Sadly, it exists in a vacuum for that. It's whether Paul Waterhauser retains his title, which I'm assuming he wouldn't.
We won't be talking about that. We'll make time for Rev Pro. That's what I was going to say before. Yeah. I always feel bad, though. Coming out these weekends, those Rev Pro shows are usually the best show of the weekend. And because of the other newsworthy stuff, it's hard to find time. We will make sure we find time on Spotlight to talk about it at the end. Definitely.
Definitely for that. Eve is on from the Big Penny Social, which I don't know what the distance is to Crystal Palace, but I'm sure, again, they'll survive. They've got for the Eve International title #1 contendership match, Nina Samuels versus a mystery opponent. I'm guessing is going to be someone from AEW, and there's a lot of talk of it, but Nina Samuels might be retiring and things like that. So maybe something will happen there. Yeah,
that's why she's in the multi-woman, isn't she, on Rev Pro as well, presumably.
Queen Aminata versus Anita. I got it right. Versus Anita Vaughn. Yeah. Rio versus Lucy Sky in a #1 contenders match. Millie McKenzie and Sapphire
Rio
Reed
versus Lucy Sky.
Yeah,
JP said. Mila McKenzie and Sapphire Reed versus Julia Hart on Sky Blue, and Nightshade versus Nyla Rose.
What's happened? Have I gone off?
We
Have
lost
I?
them.
Oh, fucking hell.
Well, that's Eve versus the world. I'm sure JP will be back. There he is. Nope, he's gone. Okay. That's Eve. So there we go. We'll see if any other big stars show up for that one. And good luck to you if you're bombing around London to get yourself to that. Riot Cabaret, Someone's Knocking on Your Door, is also take place from the Clapham Grand. This being tomorrow on Friday. We have Mark Andrews versus Nico Angelico. We have Tate Mayfairs versus James Ellis in a Wedding from Hell match with Simon Miller's special guest referee. Okay. Rena. Is that Rhino? I was going to say Reno.
Yeah.
It's actual Rhino. Okay. Rhino versus Harley Hudson.
That seems wrong.
Jordan Briggs versus Flash Morgan Webster. Friend of the show. Man Like Darius, also a friend of the show, versus Spike Trivet. Nina Samuels
Big friend
versus
of the show. Yeah.
I know, right? One of those was ironic. Stunt Sound Machine versus the franchise. Also on that show as well, as we have JP back.
Yeah, we do. Yeah. Riot Cabaret will do well. They always do well. They tend to. And I know there's the idea with the clashes in there as well. A couple of other events that are going on this weekend. Melina is over, Unwritten in London. Oh, why is it?
Was that the name of a promotion, or was that her?
Oh,
she's literally over,
her.
Right?
The Cavendish Arms in southwest London for reasons. For 2 hours, just knock around there, knock around Clapham. Why not? Enjoy yourself, get a big shopping day in. And then My World Live in London is with Jeff Jarrett and Grado at the Boundary in Farringdon, so real central London there, Cowcross Street. Begins at 7:30, ends at 10:30. So it's going on some fucking time there. Jeff will be there, available for selfies at a price, because he's no fool, is Jeff.
There we go. Well, also going on. That's not the end. I was going to say we'll jump to what else is going on in the rest of the world on this weekend, JP. Unless if anyone's got any other highlights of things to go into, let us know in the chat going on. I'm sure there's some other odds and ends.
Ewan's document in the Discord is the one to really have a look at there. Like Ewan's done Lord's work. There's loads of other shows that are going on, like Pro Wrestling Ceasefire. There's a couple of free shows as well. If you go into our Discord, you'll be able to see the links there in
there's a couple of
patrons only chat.
Couple of quite small niche promotions that are run. There's this one that's running the M&S Bank Arena, the Utility Arena in Newcastle, the AO Arena, the First Direct Arena, and the Ultimate Arena in Cardiff. They're called WWE. Road to Clash in Paris is also taking place this weekend. Yes, that Liverpool show is on the Saturday. Newcastle they're in on the Sunday. I wonder how many of our What Culture friends are going the Fed House show instead of Forbidden Door. I hope. I know the one who you'd suspect is definitely making his way to Forbidden Door. So. At least that's good. But yes, tongue in cheek aside, that is taking place, and Matty will be there, which takes us into late in the show to mention SmackDown also taking place this weekend. I don't think that's from the UK, is it? I think that's
nope.
Yeah, it's America. R-Truth versus Aleister Black. Mustache Machine Guns versus Mellow Don't Miz is on that show as well. We have, was that not last week? I feel like that was last week. Maybe it's just SmackDown. Maybe that's just what SmackDown does. We also have WWE Heatwave taking place this weekend. That was a surprise to me. I didn't know that was taking place from the Lower Memorial Auditorium. Chelsea Green and Ethan Page versus Tavion Heights and Tyra May Steele. JC Jane versus Ashby Elegance versus Masha Slamovich. Lola Vice versus Jada Parker versus Kalani Jordan. Hank and Tank versus The Dark State. I haven't heard anything of them since WrestleMania weekend. Jordan Grace versus Blake Monroe. And Obafemi versus Jay Vaughn Evans taking place. NXT Heatwave.
A show that
exists. SmackDown's in Dublin.
Oh, okay.
I didn't know that. Yeah. I think we might have the wrong card there. I think that might be last week's card.
Okay. I'm sure I got it from the one on there. But anyway, who fucking cares? They make
fucking,
it up on the
see
fucking
what they're doing?
day.
They're doing fucking Bloodline B Team versus fucking the Wyatt family B Team. Like, that's a feud. That's a genuine feud they're doing on SmackDown.
I can't imagine how bad those matches would be. Jesus wept on there. We do have TNA Impact on tonight. I don't know if we need to necessarily go into like a big preview of it as well. I'll bring it up very quickly up on here, although my internet is starting to massively struggle. Like it did.
I think it's StreamYard, you know.
Oh, well, that most common of villains. And in that case, I'm going to go straight into the 5-star Grand Prix finals. And what are the big matches that are on here as well? Well, in the semi-finals, in the Red Stars, you've got Azumi versus Rina. In the Blue Stars, Sayori Ano versus Momo Watanabe. I couldn't tell you who's going to win for this one. in there, like whether you do a Sori Anno. I mean, like generally they've gone with like a kind of a fresher young star. Azumi would be the choice for me because I think she's great. Future of Stardom Championship match: Hina versus Rana Yagami. IWGP Women's Championship match: Sari versus Konami. Then the 5-star Grand Prix finals. We also have the finals of the Tokyo Joshi Pro Tokyo Princess Cup final from Kurikan Hall, place you've never heard of. You're completely unaware it exists. The Tokyo Princess Cup final. Miyu Watanabe versus Arisu Endo. We've also got the start of the Kings Road tournament. This is all Japan on the Sunday, again from Kurikan. First round matches. Mr. Saito Shigeki Doi versus Daisuke Sakamoto's in his retirement year. Yuma Aoyagi versus Naoya Nomura, who's a blast from the past from when he was having those banging matches with Miyahara in the late 2010s. And Kento Miyahara, speaking of the great man himself, versus Mishimo Kengo. So that's the Royal Tournament that's on this weekend. I've brought up, I've got an Impact preview. Trick Williams opens the show. Frankie Kazarian versus Jake something. The System and Matt Cardona versus Mustafa Ali, Jason Hotch and John Schuyler. A Knockouts gauntlet for number one contender. And JC's Jane is speaking. Yeah.
Well, there you go. Fantastic. A lot of stuff going on for this WrestlePalooza weekend. That's in got that coming up in October, but got that to look forward to as well. But yeah, plenty going on. That's at the top of the show what I'll be doing this weekend. Obviously, like I say, JP still recovering from the birthday. Whatever you're doing, folks, have a great one. Hopefully, people can meet up if we'll see each other in the wild. Hopefully, everyone has a great weekend. I'll just use this time of the NJP to throw in some because this is going on the free feed on a delay. And if you listen on the free feed and you got this far through us listing names by the end of the podcast, you must really like us. You don't have to give us any money. Like, I'm going to ask one thing. I'm not going to say sign up to the Patreon because you can sign up for the Patreon for free. That is something that's available to you. I'm just going to say, if you don't already, subscribe to us on YouTube. We could do some extra numbers. Get us past that 1,000 mark. It's we should be way past that at this point based on all of our other numbers, but we're a bit slow to the game with YouTube. It would honestly, if you've got like a second account or something like that, you go on YouTube. Every little helps. Get us a few more. We got a few more actually from the Andy Quilden interviews, so it's helpful. So please do, and if you can support us, like I say, patreon.com/grapple, and the YouTube as well. JP, sorry, borrow the words from your mom.
No, exactly. Where youtube.com/@grapple. And patreon.com/grapple. Like and subscribe. Get it all in.
Go.
Come on.
That's what they all
We're
saying.
good people. We deserve this.
Yeah, well, not really, but we try. We do our best. Yeah. I think WH said that to me. He was like, he's trying to set me up with one of his mates in Japan. He was like, "Oh yeah, I told him that you're what did he say? You're not a knob. You're not a nonce, and you're not a knobhead." And I was like, well, "I'm not one of them." The first one. Just to be clear, the first one. Hopefully my internet doesn't cut out.
Second one.
Yeah. It's up to debate, isn't it? It's up to debate, but yeah, plenty coming up on the Patreon and already exist in the AJ Styles show. I would highly recommend Urban Wrestling Federation coming up. Grapple Lads, which I didn't even mention it. Yeah, it's going to be presumably Gareth because Gareth and Matty won't be on the coming spotlight. Gareth's off on his holidays. Matty's got some other stuff going on, so they have promised that they're going to do a Grapple Lads this weekend, probably from a hotel room, and it'll either have a preview of Forbidden Door, or we'll have a review of Forbidden Door. I'm hoping the last exit might be a bit out of date by the time we can put it on the feed, but you might get some bonus audio from the lads as well. So plenty to look forward to. There you go as well, yeah. And if you see them, say hello. I'm sure Matty will let you to buy him a drink. But of course, as Pat says here, safe travels to everybody who's heading over. Safe travels to you, JP, as well. And yeah, with that said, we'll be back for Spotlight in the week, and we'll review it all, and we'll do our best. But past that, anything else to say, JP?
Sayonara. That's as Forbidden Doorish as I get this weekend.
Mm. Oh, and news done from JP tomorrow as well. No podcast.
Oh yeah.
I'm going to raise my voice for a few days.
Bye.